himself a crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Mr. Michael Severe, I am sorry. I was not informed that you would be in for Connor Happer today.
You didn't know?
I had no, I did not call somebody.
Now we don't talk to each other.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, do you not follow people on the show on Twitter?
You know what? I don't look at Twitter as much as I should when I'm in the.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw it. I found out when I was looking at Twitter, and I saw Josh had tweeted out that I was on the show today. I was like, I got to get over there. What the hell's going on?
Well, no, that's not true because I saw your document. You got all the things ready.
I do have a document. Most of my document is just me transferring stuff over from Severe Reaction because we did not have a lot of time to get to the things I wanted to talk about.
Really? Well, were you?
No, we did
were
not.
You diverted by calls?
We had full lines the whole time.
Wow.
And then we had SIP at 9, and the line stayed.
Yeah.
As soon as SIP went off, it boomed the line, and all the way through until the last 7 minutes of the show. We got rid of the
I
first
love
call.
that you have
Last
SIP
call.
on every Sunday on Severe.
Yeah, when we can. Like, I'm guessing next week probably won't be able to.
Well, because he'll be in the air.
He'll be probably at the airport. I don't know what time they'll leave.
Hopefully, he doesn't run out of gas at the on the plane.
I'm jammed up at LAX.
I'm out of gas.
I'm out of gas.
I've run out of gas.
Such a good drop.
Such a
Did
great
we cut that?
Did he cut it out?
Did we cut that out?
Should have been cut out.
Oh, I have
that
no
should
idea.
have been cut.
It was
out.
outstanding.
That would have been. Oh,
but when SIP can't be on, my backup is a pretty good backup. Go Jay Foreman.
Wow.
Get Jay Foreman to come
Do you
on.
run a different style of offense when Jay Foreman's on?
I probably let Jay cook.
Yeah.
A little more.
You'll let him go.
Than I do with SIP. I have a history with. I've been interviewing Stephen M. Sipple since 2004.
Oh my God.
So there's a lot of history.
Well, you're friends with him at this
And
point, right?
I wouldn't acquaintances. I wouldn't necessarily call him friends.
Yeah, you're very
I have a
specific.
very limited number.
Oh no, I know. I'm aware.
A very limited number
I
of friends.
respect it.
I have like maybe 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe 6.
Yeah. So you told me this because I said that we were friends, and you.
I gotta shoot that down.
You checked that at the door.
Slow that roll, brother.
Even though you are one of the most important people in my career.
Well, yeah, that's great and everything. Yeah, it doesn't mean we're friends.
You're
yeah, there are a lot of people out there that I'm not friends with.
Now, for me, I probably have, and this is not a brag. Like, I have too many people I call friends. Like, I'm too frivolous with who I call my friends.
Yeah.
Like, there definitely are people that I say that's my friend.
Yeah.
We probably talk like twice.
When you get to the point where in your phone,
Yeah.
you have more than 20 people who are dead in your phone.
Oh my God.
You just kind of weed. You weed.
Wow.
You're constantly weeding.
I kind of hate that.
And so like Phil is
Yeah.
my friend.
Yeah.
Phil Tringali,
Okay.
my friend. He was in my wedding.
Italian?
Oh, Tringali.
Yeah.
No, he's actually French. Yeah.
No,
he's
come on.
He's from South Philly. He's a Philly guy.
Wow.
I have a
South
lot of Philly
Italian
friends.
is a great-
I have a lot of Philly friends.
Well, yeah, you're out there.
And so I got him. He's a friend of mine. We got named Mark Ronchetti, who's my best man at the wedding.
Oh my God.
We are still. I would say
Ronchetti.
we're friends. We don't talk a lot,
Yeah.
but he's also very MAGA, so it's like
Sure.
very interesting.
Sure, it is.
Now. He actually ran for governor of New Mexico.
How'd he do?
He came. Well, he lost.
Okay.
He didn't win, but I was cheering for him, despite
Yeah.
the fact that I don't agree with any policies.
Did he get like third place or something?
No, he was second.
Wow.
It was a really competitive race.
What that?
It was a competitive race. He also ran for senator before
and
that.
he lost that
Out of nowhere. That was really close.
Really?
And he had very little time to run for that race.
Was there kind of a screw job done over there?
No, it's a very democratic state. It's hard for Republicans to
That's
win.
still pretty impressive. He got that
Hey,
far.
it's awesome. He's a great guy. It was weatherman. I worked with him for years.
Gotcha.
So Mark
Weatherman
Ronchetti,
turned
friend of
politician.
mine.
Wow.
Ed, you know Ed Hobbs?
No,
Hobbs, you know Hobbs?
I don't know Hobbs.
Hobbs, local guy.
Shaw.
Okay.
You know who?
Shaw.
Oh yeah, no, not Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
Although Ed has gotten really buff.
Oh, I was going to say
do a
Ed-
lot of lifting.
I was like Ed turned into Jason Statham. I thought is what you
He
were
would be
going
the
to say.
Rock
He would be the Rock.
because he's black
Who would be-
and because he's
Sure.
bigger.
Who would be the Jason Statham of Nebraska Media Corps?
Oh, that's simple.
Yeah,
so
with
easy.
The fighting background.
It's
and the rough
Robin
voice.
Washut.
Yeah.
It's Robin
Oh,
Washut.
really? You
It's
think it's
Robin
Rob?
Washut.
You think it's Rob?
Robin Washut. First of all, when I always think of Jason Statham, the first thing I think about
Yeah.
is handsome Rob.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You think they look
Italian?
That much?
No, Italian job. He was
Oh,
handsome
wait, he
Rob.
was handsome Rob in Italian
And so I
Job. haven't
think
seen Italian
of
Job.
that name, and so immediately Robin. Robin lifts. Robin, does
Robin is-
diamond
yeah.
push-ups. And so you ever heard that story?
of the push-ups in the bar, right? And he
Yes,
did the
in the
most
corner of the
amount.
bar,
Yeah.
yes. So anyway, so that's Robin. I'd probably say he's Jason Statham.
But
I
don't
think
know if
Robin probably pulled
is
the
Robin-
honeys.
But is Robin intimidating enough? Like he's not.
I think
mean.
Robin when Robin gets mad, which you
Okay.
don't see a lot
I've seen
or
him,
hear a lot.
I've seen him get.
Have you heard him
mad
get mad?
at like a product happening on a field?
Have you heard him
know?
get mad at
So
Sean?
I've never heard him get mad at a human. At a specific
I heard him.
human.
He got recently mad at Sean
Okay.
during their post game.
Really?
And I go back and listen to everybody's post games.
How was ours?
And
Never mind.
well, listen to you guys live.
I know.
I don't have to go back. I'm driving home. So
Sorry-
anyway,
sorry to put you through that, Michael.
it's fine.
This is a tough one.
Actually, what happens is I only listen to you a little bit because I then watch the game
I know
on the way
you're,
home.
you're a psycho.
I watch the game on the way
Crazy.
home.
How many times have you rewatched the game so far?
3.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
I
3
haven't
times.
rewatched it once.
So I watch it on the way home, which is not easy because I'm driving. And then I get home in the middle of third quarter, is about 12:30, 1 o'clock. I watch the rest of it. I got up that morning,
Rewatched it.
which I got an extra hour of sleep. Well, thank you to
I know,
that.
hell
I know
yeah.
people criticize that, but when I woke up and my watch said 5:27,
Yeah.
and I looked at my phone and my phone said 4:27, I was
Sure.
like, "Oh, hello, let's go."
I'm a part of the generation where we don't really go outside a whole lot. So
Yeah.
the whole like it becoming dark quicker doesn't.
Oh, I
really
don't. Yeah,
affect
that
me.
part I don't care. The fact that I
Yeah.
got an extra hours of sleep after I had only gone to bed at like
Talking,
1:15,
talking to a 23-year-old morning show host
I
who
was
doesn't get enough sleep.
pretty happy about that. So anyway, I watched it before I came in. I
Yeah.
watched all the big plays and the fourth quarter over
Okay.
when I was sitting here waiting for a severe reaction.
I gotcha.
And then this morning I watched it.
How was that my Ava throw on the flea flicker?
That
Oh
was
my
a
God.
dime.
Oh my god.
So I think if you were gonna, it was about 6 feet, right?
Yeah.
About 6 feet he had to put that ball.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody about this morning, Damon, about he said, well, he shouldn't throw that ball. And I am in this era with how good the wide receivers are and how
Sure.
good the quarterbacks are that I believe you got to make those throws.
Well, what was so
They're
impressive,
critical.
What was so impressive about it was he didn't throw it to a guy. He threw
It
it
was
to
a spot. Yeah.
He threw it right
Threw it
on
to the
that
sideline.
spot,
Yep.
and it was perfectly like hovering. And also, too, you know this: the underrated factor of throwing the football isn't just getting it to your guy; it's getting it to your guy, and the other guy can't get it, who's covering him.
The ball,
Right.
person, defender. Yeah,
Defender,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he threw it where I think it was Marshall. Was it Marshall? Who was on the coverage?
No, there's a reason why he threw that ball.
Oh,
it was Guthrie.
Guthrie. Okay.
He went-
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that's the case,
Oh no!
trust
no,
me,
I know it
that's
is.
the case.
I'm aware.
Those
Now,
guys get picked on so much.
Rex had a better game than what
Rex is a
had.
tackler. Rex isn't
But
necessarily
even,
a
but
coverer.
I mean, still,
He's a tackler.
there were times where the second level got up to him, and he had no shot of getting off some blocks. which
Yeah, and
is
it's
what
not-
it is.
Really, when I watch and I think about that run game, so there
Yeah.
were 2 drives. The 2 drives where they got field goals.
Okay.
They had 46 yards rushing on one of them
Yeah.
and 49 on the other.
Well, it's funny. It's like what you see and what was true, right? Like what I see.
Look
is
at that. Boop, Beetle.
Nice. Oh, it's back on the board there. I don't think he killed it.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to kill it.
Oh no, it's.
I don't
it's-
kill
it's moving.
beetles, man.
It's moving.
Beetle, we need beetles.
Why is that?
They kill other mosquitoes and things that bother us.
Really?
I want the ones that don't really necessarily bite you or do anything
Sure.
to kill the things that bite you and do things.
So do you look at a spider and you say we need?
I
that
don't kill
spider in the
spiders.
house?
I don't kill spiders.
Yeah. 'cause
Never
you're
kill
like,
spiders.
We don't.
Bad luck,
Yeah.
first of all.
Okay.
And then secondly, I've always kind of liked spiders.
What's the opposite of arachnophobia?
Liking spiders.
Okay, but
Yeah,
I'm
is
asking.
what I would
no,
call it.
I'm
I would call it
like, for
technically the
actual term, Michael.
scientific phrase for it is I like spiders.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That's what I would go with. They had 10 plays of 10 plus running the ball, 142 yards. That is you would call an unsuccessful rush defense.
No, but at the same time, you have to. I said this on the air today. I was like, I have to look myself in the mirror and be like, Matt, they only gave up 21 points because the number 1 scoring offense in the country.
7
Like-
points under their road average.
Yeah, and so it's just like another thing too. Jaden Maeva played a terrible game.
He did.
And,
Well,
and
Can you give a little bit more, I think, credit to the second best pass defense in college football?
yes, but at the same
And
time,
he played against the best defense that he faced all year.
But I'll say this, Michael.
Yeah.
You have taught me a lot about the Havoc stats.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Nebraska won this week.
I know.
How about that?
And I
Hey!
can I be honest with you? I had no clue that was the case. But
Have it plus, baby.
But watching the game,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, they're actually causing what you would
Yeah.
determine as havoc. Like they're actually like when Neri had that funny play where he headbutted him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
but that's
It was
what
15-10.
yeah,
actually,
that's
the
what that
final
is.
number,
Like,
yeah.
and so that's why I said the D line from a rush perspective was awful, but from a pass perspective,
Yeah.
like they actually got to
So-
like they didn't Well, they caused 2 intentional groundings, so that's another one.
Right, and they don't necessarily get credit for, even though the stats give you a sack, they necessarily always get credit for that. So the first intentional grounding was completely wrong call.
Okay,
It's a horrible call.
Can we talk about that?
Hold on, it's a bad call.
Okay.
I don't care what your feeling is about USC or Nebraska or what side you're on in terms of that. But when a running back is within 2 feet of the ball,
Sure.
that it's not grounding.
Can I propose this though?
No, I read what you said. I read it and I thought, okay, so he's doing a little weed before he gets on the board.
No,
don't give me like the
What was the-
semantics of it. It's not
no,
that.
but that's what the semantics
It's
are.
not about that. It's about the
But what-
rule. The
but-
rule
but-
is simple.
So here's why I will surrender in this regard. That rule is important in terms of like
Protecting the quarterback.
well, no, it's
what
important
it's there
because
for.
if you were to get rid of that rule, right, it would completely change the game.
Well, it
Right?
would change the screen game.
It would change everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So you can't get rid of if the running back is by the football when the pass is thrown, like that isn't intentional. You can't get rid of that. And so I'll surrender
Yeah.
that. But it's intentional. The word is intentional grounding.
Mhm.
Jaden Maeva is falling to the ground. He is going to get sacked.
Mhm.
And he takes the ball and he throws it
Mhm.
downward
Yes, he does.
to avoid the sack.
That's right.
He's intentionally grounding the ball
Right.
to avoid the sack.
Right.
Intentional ground.
So the word intentional grounding, that phrase is correct.
Yes.
But then what constitutes intentional grounding then destroys your argument. It's very similar to Yorkshire pudding.
Yes.
Yorkshire
give it
pudding.
to me.
Okay. So here you go. So I say to you, Yorkshire pudding,
And I
right?
and
you have an idea of what it is. You think you know what it is.
I think it's pudding.
But then when you go to the definition of it and you look what it is, you're like, oh, it's not. It's a
meat.
baked good
Yeah.
with either meats in it, can be savory or it can be sweet.
Exactly.
But right. But that's when intentional grounding, yes. But then what's the rule? If there's someone near it,
Sure.
if you go out of the pocket, if it reaches the line of scrimmage, right?
Yes.
So you had all those things on top of it. So just the wording of it isn't everything.
Henceforth, minced beef, carrots, and peas sometimes in your Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, I would not put any of that in my Yorkshire pudding, but sure.
What would you put in your Yorkshire pudding?
I actually like more of a sweet one where when you make it with a little bit sweeter dough.
Okay.
More like a Dutch
But you're still
one.
putting meat.
I'm a Dutch
Are you
guy.
still putting meat in
Not
there?
all the time.
What,
not
you
all the
put,
time.
What, fruit?
No. It could be vegetables, but
Okay.
my breading is more sweet
Do
than
you,
it is bland. Their breading is very bland.
how often do you season with sucrose as opposed to
Never.
okay?
Never
See,
season with sucrose.
That is just like
Never.
inexperienced American cooks who
I,
just think that putting sugar into things
I am not-
makes it better.
I am more of using a juice if I
Oh.
want to sweeten.
Never thought of that.
Juices, that's why I think my ribs are pretty good because of
Because
the amount of apple juice I use.
See, I do apple cider vinegar.
I mix half
with,
and half.
with water, and then you spray it.
Half and half, apple cider vinegar and apple juice. I mix those two together,
But you're
leave it in my
you're
spray.
smoking this, right?
Until recently I am now. I'm
Okay.
now smoking, but in the
Yeah.
past I was always a grill smoker.
Really?
Yes, I had my
Oh.
Weber. I'd make 4 or
Weber's
5
so good.
packets of aluminum foil with wet
Yeah.
with wet wood inside, right?
Yeah.
I wrap those up. And
Yeah.
then I had the 2 things on the side where you can flip it up on your
Sure.
grill. And so I would start off with my charcoal,
Yeah.
and then it's usually cooking in the middle. And then as I'm going along, I lift it up and I drop those wet packets.
Sure.
And then that's how I smoke. That's
do
how I
you-
used to smoke.
Do you have a spit? You have a rotisserie spit?
I do not have a rotisserie.
So I bought a grill that came with a spit.
Okay.
And I think for Thanksgiving when we do
Yeah.
the chicken, 'cause
Yeah.
we do a turkey and then another
Right.
meat. I think we're gonna do first time we're gonna rotisserie.
Have you done a turkey on the grill?
No, we do it in the oven, but we got
That's how you do yours, right, Mike?
I do. So I always have to make 2.
Do you
Yeah.
spatchcock your turkey?
I did last year because I
Okay.
borrowed my friend's Traeger and
Gotcha.
did it that way.
And you spatched it?
So I always make 2 turkeys. I only have 1 oven,
Yeah.
right? And also
Yeah.
my wife has to get pies and stuff in the oven.
Got
So I make one of them out on the grill. And this is the great thing about making it on the grill. A buddy of
Okay.
mine, Kerry, can't remember his last name.
Gas
but
grill or-
Kerry, this is a charcoal grill.
Yeah,
Kerry
that's
was
my
the
problem.
assignment editor
Okay.
at KOAT in Albuquerque. And we would
All
work
right.
together, like grilling things together, right? And one of the things we worked on was doing that turkey. And the way you do it is, first of all, you cover the breast with bacon,
Sure.
right? Cover it all with bacon. First, you season it. Now I've gotten to the point now where I actually brine it. So
Yeah.
I'll brine it overnight.
Mhm.
Then I do it. Then I take the bacon. I put the bacon over the top using some toothpicks. I
Yeah.
get that in there. You got to
Okay.
pin the wings so they don't get too wide. And then on the sides, you have your charcoal. you're going for you need about 3 hours of cooking.
Really?
And then when
I
you
thought it'd be
think you're done
longer.
at 3 hours,
Yeah.
let it cook another half an hour.
Okay.
And it'll be right at the perfect temperature. And then you take your bacon off.
Yeah.
And let it sit on there while it's kind of cooling. So your resting period, normally
Sure.
you take it off for the rest.
So
leave it for the rest on
Really?
there because it'll kind of brown that top a little bit. You take that bacon, you mix the bacon up with your green beans.
Okay. So I was going to say that. Do you put the bacon in the gravy or do you put the bacon in
The green beans.
another-
So my gravy has
Okay.
got the leftovers from the turkey, obviously.
Yeah.
The one I'm making inside.
Sure.
And then it's got the regular onion, celery, carrot, bell pepper, all
So
put
we
together.
do. We
Then I
put
strain it.
ours. I make a compound butter.
Yeah, I did that for the spatchcock.
Rosemary, thyme, salt, pepper, garlic powder. I don't like putting garlic. I don't like mincing the garlic in the butter.
I
prefer-
I love that
I prefer
because the
to-
look is awesome.
I know, but
good look.
There are some people who are like, oh, I don't like garlic, right? Like, well, I don't like garlic.
Well,
And so-
there's some people you can say you'll go to hell.
Well, exactly. And so it's
You're
like
at my dinner
like-
table.
Yeah,
I'm with Michael on
You
they're
eat
like-
what I cook.
They're like, well, I don't like garlic, right? So you're like, but like they're dummies and they don't understand that garlic adds
Yep.
a nice tone of texture and flavor.
I have a
right?
friend though. I will tell you that is allergic to garlic.
Okay.
Do you know
Whoa.
Sasha?
I don't know. I've never
Okay,
met her.
so
I've heard so
Sasha
much
is
about
actually
her.
She's
allergic to garlic. Yeah, isn't that crazy? You know how hard it is.
That would
Well,
yeah.
make-
my
it's
brother's
difficult.
wife is
also allergic to garlic. So I get those people.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
If you're not allergic, you don't like if you tell me that you don't like garlic, you just don't know flavor. Like you just don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that like it adds, and there's garlic in everything that you eat. But I put,
unless you're allergic and you avoid putting
and then
garlic
you
in
avoid
everything
it.
you eat.
But
yeah.
I put the garlic powder in there because you need
Sure.
it, and so I avoid the whole.
right. You think if they don't see it, it won't
they
bother
won't
them.
know, and
Okay.
they're dummies, and so they don't know that they're eating garlic,
Yeah.
even though I put it in a powder.
Why do you guys
form.
have on Jenna and I come in here sometimes and the weirdest stuff is on?
See,
What Mandy? What the hell are you watching?
so I
They
don't-
like the Today Show.
Here's
What?
So Gary.
I used to watch it back in the day.
Gary watches the Today Show, and then around I want to say 8:00, he'll switch it over to ESPN, and then we'll
Okay.
get up, and then we'll get the beginning of First Take.
So those
And
are all shows I never watch. So I don't
Yeah.
watch Today's Show.
So
I definitely don't watch Get Up because I don't know what it is about him. I just don't. I don't know what it is. No offense to him. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't like him.
yeah.
I can't listen to him speak. When he
Really?
speaks, I get like this feeling of I want to stab him, and I hate that feeling. So I don't
don't
listen to
watch?
him.
Yeah.
His commercial pops on for ESPN, the app. I turn the TV off. I can't.
Who is this again? Is this Stephen A?
No. The dude, the host,
Greeny.
Greeny. I can't. I hate Greeny.
So he
This goes back to when they were Mike and Mike's show. I didn't like
he
him
would
then.
he hosted Greeny, the radio show, the national radio
Yeah,
show
yeah,
for
sure.
ESPN,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was on in Chicago,
Right.
Because of there was a bunch of
Sure.
talk about semantics.
Northwestern ties.
No, not that at all. It was other stuff that
Yep.
I'm not going to reveal.
Okay.
Information.
All right.
But anyway, he would never show up for his own show, ever.
He always
That's
had
right.
fill-ins.
He would never
That's
ever
funny.
be on. It'd be the Greeny show hosted by Hembo.
Hosted by somebody.
yeah.
There
and
was an
then-
article that came out like in the first year of that show.
Yeah.
Hey, we crunched the numbers. Greeny has missed 60% of
Yes.
his shows.
He had a national ESPN show.
Well, he was also doing 5 or 6 other things.
exactly,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
he just wasn't. He just wasn't on, and
They
it was
just wanted the name in the
and-
lineup because
and
the
I-
lineup was
ex-
falling apart.
Well, the lineup was Hembo, and Hembo's good. I like Hembo, but then at a certain point, it's like, all right, you can only do trivia so many times, right? Like you can only go to that.
I don't
back.
know who Himbo is,
Hembo,
but I used to smoke it.
what?
No, never mind. I'm just saying, I just don't like his voice, and I don't know. And it's again,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a nice person. Just something that grates
I don't know if
on
that's
me.
fully.
I don't know if I don't
confirmed.
care if he's a nice person. The voice grates on me, so I do
I
not.
don't know.
In terms of Stephen A. Smith, I just don't need it
Sure,
in my life.
it's just it's very clear.
He's on my
that-
muted account list.
Well, the thing with Stephen A is that there was a point where Stephen A made sure that he was always just the most well-informed guy, and he just was very sharp and very smart. And
But he used to be a newspaper reporter. Those guys do good work.
but then he became too popular, and then now I
Got to do too much stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also now it's become he's no longer sport host on Sport Show. He's Stephen A.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, he
And
does
so-
new stuff now
well,
too.
but
yeah.
now though, like he
He went after Jasmine Crockett.
he will
What are you doing?
allow he now allows his personal relationships to take over his sports.
He
takes.
always has had that
but
because
this,
he's always
this
been
has
that
gotten
way.
even worse because he used to be very good at not getting in on the LeBron MJ thing. Like he would
He's
make
deep involved.
he would
in
make
that.
it clear he thought MJ was better than LeBron,
Right.
but he wouldn't waste like all of his effort and time like Skip Bayless would. He
Right.
would just be like, hey, one's better than the other, but this guy's still great. Now that you've had that Stephen A. LeBron beat,
Yeah.
he's become like a massive Jordan torchbearer.
Now,
And that
for
LeBron
years, he has gotten in with athletes that all of a sudden, like, he wants to fight them, which
I don't get it.
I don't understand. What are you doing?
I
Just
don't know.
do the job. And yeah, sometimes you have to get personal. Sometimes he gets a little too personal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now it's like, well, we got to fight. I'm like, what are you doing?
well,
Why do you
that-
want to fight with Kevin Durant?
I mean, that's the difference now between NBC and ESPN is that you're not going to have Maria Taylor standing on the sidelines of an LA Lakers game talking crap to the players and then having
Probably not.
a block.
Although she's
about-
taller than most of them.
Most
she
of them, yeah.
she is very tall.
She's a very
is
tall
so
lady.
good at her job.
She's come a long
She is
way.
Yeah.
Very.
She's come. I remember when she
very
first
good.
started. She's come a long way.
Do you know who hasn't come a long way? She's just always been good. Is Malika Andrews.
Look, Andrews is awesome.
She's
Natural.
But
It's natural.
from the get go.
She's a natural. Yeah,
From
we
the
used to have
mi-
one over at Channel 7.
yeah.
Her name was Brandy Peterson. Brandy was, when she was an intern, was
We used
already
to
a
have
natural.
one over there.
Well, she was the one that always will stand out to me because a
Sure.
lot of people were really good over there. But
Yeah.
Brandy was an anchor by like 25,
really?
26.
Oh my god.
Braves fan, Brandy Peterson.
Malika Andrews
Really?
was at
I don't like her anymore.
Malika Andrews was at a ESPN 1000 for a quick cup of coffee.
Really?
In Chicago. And then what happened was there used to be I think I can say it. I don't care. ESPN 1000 in Chicago
Yeah.
isn't Disney. That's not Disney.
No, I know it's an O&O.
That's a different brand.
It's an O&O.
So they used to grab people from 1000 and then bring them up into like
Yeah,
Bristol.
sure, that
So
makes
like
sense.
Nick Friedel was a big one.
I don't know him.
He was like ESPN guy. She was one of them.
Oh,
She was
okay.
really, but she was like 26.
I
on
didn't
that,
know her
that Bucks
until
finals, right?
COVID.
Yeah,
That's the first time I remember.
Malika?
And I assumed she was pretty, but didn't know because she had a mask on.
Sure.
And she had beautiful eyes, and she sold the emotion through her eyes, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
And then she was a never stumble person too, which is I always
She
admire that.
never
stumbled.
and never
then
says or any
Yeah,
filler
well, most
or
women
crutch.
don't.
God,
is a man thing.
you know,
Is a
I've been
man
paying
crush.
attention to that. You're wrong.
Is a man crush.
No,
It is.
I've,
You want to really hear it a lot? Listen to coming up at about 11:30.
no.
Come
Who's
up
coming
then
who's
about
coming up at
11:30.
11:30?
He's an ummer. And what it is it's not about, and this is true.
banned.
This is done studies on this. It's because men like to fill
Yo,
the space.
Yeah.
They fill the
No,
space
I
and
don't
they
think
fill
you're
it with
incorrect in
ums.
that. But now I have listened to women in broadcasting, and I will.
Well, you're
and I
talking
will-
about kids,
I'm talking about women.
but you're talking about kids. Are you talking about young, like
Oh,
this new generation?
I'm talking about no. I'm just talking about.
Okay,
will
because
listen to-
I don't. You don't hear it from any of the professionals.
But I'll.
Have
but-
you ever heard Melissa Stark say
No. No, and Rutledge no, and
Those people who are professionals,
yeah,
they don't do it.
Aaron
Even
Andrews-
the men who
Aaron-
are professionals,
yeah. But I'll
Troy
I'll-
ums. Troy ums a lot.
But you say it as if like a woman has never before.
I'm saying that it is trendier
For
for
a
the
guy.
man to do it because men don't want to stop talking
Well,
to let somebody else jump in. It's the reason why our friend Dylan Raiola wanted to get back in the game so bad because obviously he wants to win and he wants to be a part of it. But he also doesn't want the other guy to get a shot,
no,
right? A competitor doesn't
really.
want somebody else to go in
and do
and
better.
do well.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, you want your teammate to do well, but this is your job. And so men don't like for you to have that window right there.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like DiCaprio at a television when I hear a woman in broadcasting, and I think no, and I think of Michael Severe.
You're pointing.
Yeah,
Your point. I don't say they never do it. I mean, it's just based off. So my minor, I had two minors. One was sociology because I took so many sociology classes for some reason at one point.
I'm a sociology minor.
I am a sociology minor as well. Minor.
Minor, not
My
major.
other minor though was voice and diction, because if you go through the program at Sam Houston State, the radio, television, film program, they have you go through a track: production, broadcast journalism. I went through the one that involved the voice and diction stuff.
Sure.
And so there are a lot of studies and research on how people speak, why they speak, the dialects across the country.
Yeah.
And one of the big ones was that men fill space, and is a good space filler. Yeah, space filler.
I took a child development class and it changed my life.
Child development changed your
Yeah,
life because you
about,
realized
like-
you were needed to be developed. Oh.
No. It was one of those things where you learn about schema and you learn about nature and nurture and you learn about
Yeah.
um,
Ooh, the nature nurture one.
well
Ooh.
the whole early development versus late development.
Yeah.
Like that's a big, like people don't understand
Well,
that we have just have this genetic of like you are somebody who hits puberty early or you're somebody who hits puberty
Yeah,
late.
sure, yeah.
And that like little genetic thing literally changes people's lives, personalities, perceptions.
So does
like
First
that.
Start.
Well,
and Head Start.
Yes. Well, that as well. But like, if you're somebody who hits puberty like early, like if you're a early developer, right, you're more likely to be like a leader or looked up to, or like be looked as the strong person. More likely to be in situations and where
Beatles
like
on your hat.
I know where you're like the top person, whether it be a male or female.
Early,
like,
right?
Early,
not always.
But if you're a late developer, like you are more likely because you're smaller or weaker or whatever, like more often you're more likely to like be bullied or be looked down.
Well, yeah.
And that like changes. Like that
I was thinking more education and development and serial killers. That's what I usually think about when we talk about early development. So
are
how
all
that person,
early development people serial killers?
Well, no, there's a real trend for serial killers, and you'll see how they're developed when they're young. Usually they have some sort of abuse, right?
Yeah.
Two, a lot of times they are attracted to like strange things, like people being
like,
tied up or
dead
blood,
animals.
Killing dead animals. It's a little bit later in the progression. But I'm talking about like 3-4 years old.
Oh, really?
You see it that early.
See,
in terms
I watched
of
Ozarks and
Ozarks.
Yeah, or is it Ozark?
Ozark.
Oh, is it not an S on that?
No,
I don't care.
Well, they you can live in the Ozarks.
Yeah,
the show was, I believe, Ozark.
Anyway, I was watching that show, and you've seen that show?
Many times, yes, love it.
You know, like when I forget the little boy.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I don't know their names.
Yeah, where he like is taken around like a dead wolf.
And
then like Jason Bateman freaks out.
Yeah.
By the way, talk about an underrated actor.
He's not underrated.
I think he is underrated.
I don't think he's underrated. I think he's properly rated. Juno is the one that put him over the top.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I
mean, he had a lot of great things. Obviously, I watched him as a
enough
child actor when he was coming up. But you watch him in Juno, that was the flip where he showed he could be bad as well. This is a good guy.
Sure.
In everything.
I do hate the
Juno
fact that
allowed him to do the flip.
It seems like though he gets cheated on in every single movie.
Yes, very true.
Like he's just I don't know.
He walks in on stuff a lot.
Doesn't that have to be a little insulting for him that somebody's like, hey, the male lead gets cheated on in this movie? You know who would be a perfect looking and sounding guy for that? Jason Bateman. Like, yeah.
Josh, what's the name of the dude from
a lot of pressure here.
Okay, it's the movie about Cinderella, Princess Diaries.
Okay.
What's the name of the grown-up man?
Carrie Elwes?
No, man.
Carrie's a man.
Okay, my bad.
Princess Bride.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. What? Hello. You've never seen Princess Bride?
I absolutely.
Oh my God.
Let's take a time out here.
No time out. You got to see that.
No, stop it. I absolutely.
The kid's a Bears fan.
I absolutely refuse to be shamed for not watching certain movies. Okay.
Well, I don't care if you don't. I'm going to shame you. I don't care what you think. I'm shaming you.
Care. I'm not.
It's got so much context for life.
So what?
You need. So what? You're rubbing your leg in front of me. You need context for your life.
No, I don't.
That is very strange. He pulled up his pants leg. He looks like a bear. You need to put that stuff away. I don't need all of that.
See, this is why I don't wear shorts, because I'm very like.
You're extremely hairy.
I am a hairy man.
You got your leg pulled up.
I'm manly,
what are you
unlike
doing?
You.
I have hairy legs, but I'm not pulling
you
I'm not pulling up.
You get a full Brazilian wax.
I have not gotten ever a Brazilian anything except this one girl. Her name was Maria. But anyway,
hell yeah, brother.
All I'm saying is that is a movie that would give you
any movie specifically for anybody other than me.
The movie will help your life. Princess Bride will help your life. It will. Yes.
I think you'd like it.
I know you would like it because it's a great movie. Andre the Giant is spectacular. You need to see that. Anyway, the guy I was thinking about, Josh, in every movie, also, the girl leaves him for somebody else. Very good-looking guy who's been in a lot of stuff, started in TV. Anyway, he is the perfect example of, know why they pick him? Is because he's really good-looking, and you can put the Offset guy who's kind of funny but goofy, and he takes the girl because of that.
You ever have a friend like that where he's like ugly hot?
Oh, I would. Well,
he doesn't.
We only have 6 friends.
I would say that. I would say that
you have it because you're very limited in how many people you call friends.
So there's a guy in the friend group of the Philadelphia guys who is I wouldn't call him. He's not bad looking.
Sure.
Right. But he wouldn't be the guy you think would pull all the women. But he has this aura where he does.
I know.
This is the guy who goes in to get a massage and the girl offers to do it for him, right? Because he's just that dude.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a buddy like that where he has buck teeth. Like literally
Okay.
buck teeth.
Okay.
And he will just walk out of Brothers Bar and Grill on O Street with just a very pretty woman.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
There's some people that just have that.
Just don't, but it's not like he's got game either.
You don't necessarily have to have
overly
game.
Funny guy.
The woman sees something in you and says, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, is that how love works?
Not love. Who's talking love? Nobody in this conversation is talking love.
Yeah. Is that
She's
how-
walking out of Brothers Bar for love.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
believe that's what's happening.
I don't know. You've never.
I don't
walked
believe
into
that's- I don't
Brothers
believe that's
Bar
what
for
happening
love?
at
You've
all.
never
For
walked
Mr.
into
Right
Bro-
Now.
you've
Yeah,
never-
exactly.
you've
Mr.
never-
Right Now.
You've
Exactly.
never walked into Brothers Bar and Grill and thought, I'm going to meet my
The
wife
only
tonight?
Brothers Bar and Grill I've been in is the one in Columbus.
Okay, you haven't been to the one in Lincoln?
No, why?
Oh, come on. Why not? It's a great place.
I moved here not drinking.
Okay.
I don't go to a lot of bars. Doesn't make sense for a person who doesn't drink to go bars.
Yeah, I don't know. You like to people watch.
Yeah, I can do that a lot of places. I can do that at church. I don't
you
need to do that. I can do that
Bar,
anywhere.
I would say that bar is probably the best place because people watch. You know how many- you don't
I
think
would say
that
the best
drunk
place to people watch is a ball game.
No, I'm watching the ball game.
Is at a ball game.
No, I disagree.
And when I say ball game, I mean
No.
all ball games.
Because
I mean the basketball, the high school basketball
Yeah.
games that I go to because my son is in the pep band. The people watching there is amazing.
That's why
Well,
Dylan goes to so many.
Do you know what?
Exactly.
Do you know what the people watching in independent wrestling shows like?
Oh, I bet.
Small, little.
I
like,
bet.
that people
Yeah, I
watching.
bet. Yeah,
That
I
is-
bet. Oh,
that
yeah.
is elite.
That
That
yeah.
is the creme de la creme.
You know, I
when it
went to
comes
wrestling
people
every
watching.
Monday night
Where at?
in New Orleans
Were
at
you-
Municipal Auditorium for
Wait,
Mid South Wrestling.
Was that Crockett?
I
Or
went
Mid-
that's Midwest, Mid South,
Midwest?
Mid
Oh,
South.
Mid-South.
I went to Mid South Wrestling every Monday for about 5 years.
That is incredible.
Junkyard
every
Dog.
Monday. Junkyard Dog,
Who'd you see?
George Christopher Robley, the assassin.
Harley ever?
Harley Race showed up occasionally.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But Ric Flair came down there
I was about to
occasionally.
say American Dream.
Amer-
Death
oh, the
Row.
American Dream, Death Row was
Death
there.
Row,
He was always
baby.
there.
That-
He was there. He was there.
He
And
was
so
there,
was,
baby.
And so was his woman.
I'm the American
Woman.
Dream, baby.
Yeah, he was the best. So
Look
I
at
loved
you.
him.
Look at the lettuce. The lettuce you think you
Ted
are good. Lettuce.
DiBiase, Jim Duggan.
Lettuce.
Jim Dugan / Duggan, the name they changed.
Look at that lettuce. The lettuce you think you're all
Yeah,
good.
yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
lettuce
right.
is only good because you're next to the tomato, baby.
He's
That's
the
why.
man.
That's
He was
why
the man.
lettuce.
I loved him. And so yeah. So anyway, we go every Monday, and then once a month on Saturday nights, it would go to the Superdome,
Really?
and we would go to the Superdome
That's
once.
awesome.
But my mom lost the contact.
Oh no.
And back in the day, I don't know if you guys know this, back in the day, the hard contacts were really expensive.
Sure.
And she got so mad that she lost the contact, we couldn't go back
Wait, you never were able to go back to
the-
Mid South Wrestling
to the
Super-
Saturday night one.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I could get in free to the one on Monday night. I had some contacts. Even back then, I had
Nice.
contacts.
Even back then, you
But
knew
not in
people-
my eyes. I had contacts. Yeah.
Right,
I got into stuff for free. Anyway, we would go there. Then we went a couple times on Saturday. It was awesome. We were at, this is a famous Mid-South card.
Okay.
We were there the first time the figure four lock was reversed.
Really?
The first time,
Wait. Who did that? I wouldn't know.
it was
on.
Paul Orndorff.
Nice. Didn't he? Because
No, take it back. So Paul Orndorff was the first one to ever get out of the full Nelson.
Sure.
A guy named King Kong Mosca did the full Nelson. Paul Orndorff got out of that. The first guy to reverse the figure four, I think, might have been Kevin Von Erich.
Let me look.
But I was there for that.
No way they gave it to Kevin Von Erich.
I think it might have been
There's
Kevin.
no way that Kevin was the first one.
Kevin was a huge star. Now, he was more of a star in Texas wrestling, but
Well, no,
occasionally he
but
would come
that's
over.
because he was
Occasionally he would
was
come
the
over.
Texas wrestling.
The whole
promotion.
Von Erichs were, yeah.
But I thought
I'm pretty sure it was
but
it
if
was
a-
somebody very slim that
But
flipped
if it was the first, if we're talking about a Von Erich, that
Yeah.
would have been the first to reverse the figure four. It would have been Kerry.
No, David
Kevin
and Kevin were bigger than Kerry was for a
Really?
long time. Kerry just had no personality, couldn't talk.
No, that was Kevin.
No, Kevin could talk better than Kerry. Kerry was horrible on the microphone. Kerry's the
No,
big one that won the
no,
title.
No.
Yes, and lost
Kerry
his
won-
foot.
Kerry won the title, but David was the one who died because he was.
David died in Japan, and
I know.
Yes,
But if
Kevin was the bigger star.
Kevin was a big star in Texas, but Kevin wasn't.
Like
Really
in
known
terms
for
of
being a
wrestling,
talker.
Kevin was the bigger star
Who was
until
the
they gave
first-
Kerry the chance to win the title, and he
Well,
got
they
over Ric
flipped the
Flair.
coin.
Yeah, they got over Ric Flair, and Ric
Yeah.
Flair ended up being.
Well, have you watched that? That's a.
he was 2 nights. He was basically champ for 2 nights. And they had to
That
give
was
it
a
back, the belt
great
back. The movie,
match. Well, the match.
the match was very good. Yeah.
Well, in the movie, they made it look out to be like Kevin was a bad talker.
No, he wasn't. He was fine. Kevin was good. Yeah.
Uh,
now I
That's
think
why I'm going off.
I
That's my
think
source
now
material.
Kevin has done a lot of drugs. and he lives in Hawaii, and he's kind of doesn't wear shoes, so he's a little bit different now.
The first person widely considered to reverse the figure 4 leg lock in a professional wrestling match was Cowboy Bob Ellis.
Oh, I don't remember that one. That's before me.
Are you saying?
I'm saying the first time they made it seem like in Mid-South Wrestling, that was the first time someone had, all you do is turn over.
Oh, yeah, you put the pressure back.
All you do is turn over. I don't think it really matters, but it's wrestling. We were there when they said that was the first time. I remember that match because the assassin came in and jumped the guy that had the figure 4.
But they say that.
They say that.
In 1962.
Yeah, this is not. No.
I can't find out who was the first time who.
Yeah. That wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Cowboy Bill Ellis.
See, they did
way before me.
They probably told every town that, this is the first
time.
It might have been.
This. I do remember when King Kong Mosca lost the Phil Nelson to Paul Orndorff. They certainly made that out to be the first time that ever happened.
See, here's my thing,
though. Mr. Wonderful.
Like with the Kevin Von Erich, right? They did him dirty in that movie. If they made
movies aren't.
They made him out to be like he was an awful talker, and that's why David ended up being. I mean, David was going to take the title off of Rick on the tour.
David was a better, pure overall wrestler. Kevin was more athletic. Kerry was the big guy, and then of course Mike was just not anything.
They casted Ric Flair terribly in that movie.
A lot of the casting was horrible.
Well, Harley.
Look how short the people were.
No. Harley Race though was awesome.
That was a good casting.
That was such a
Harley
good
was Harley was great.
I was like, that is Harley Race.
Yeah. The two guys that I always thought of, if you saw them like in real life, you'd think this guy will probably kill me, was Harley Race and Big Van Vader. Van Vader looked like he was a guy that would beat you up.
Is Vader the one that had that awkward
He's the one that stabbed who did Vader stab? He stabbed somebody in real life.
No, but he wasn't on like some talk show and he lifted the guy up really, really high and something like that.
No, the guy I remember
Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, I remember Bruiser Brody doing that. There was a couple people that did that. Yeah, the one guy who slapped the guy in the side and broke his eardrums.
Yeah. Oh, well, Travis Scott did that to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Travis Scott, the singer?
The singer. You don't follow now, but
I saw him win. I saw Travis Scott win.
At the I think it was Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
The Rock and John Cena jumped Cody Rhodes and then they let Travis Scott take it. And he literally he's laying down and he takes a full palm and hits him right on the ear.
And he popped his eardrum?
Yeah.
That's why you can't let amateurs in.
No.
I believe that we're over the time.
We are done.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. You are a good kid. And I hope good things happen to you for the rest of your life.
I'm a man.
Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete. Men do not stand there rubbing their leg. Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair.
I got psoriasis
in Omaha. Well, get that fixed at everlevelconcrete.com. Connor Happer show starts next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer show is next on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny and pleasant for your Monday. A high today in Omaha of 63 degrees with winds remaining light and variable. For tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming mostly cloudy, a low of 42 with winds out of the south up to 10 miles an hour. Even warmer with more sunshine for your Tuesday. Highs tomorrow near 70 degrees with breezy winds out of the south up to 15 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Happy Monday morning and welcome to the Connor Happer Show. I am Michael Severe sitting in for Connor Happer, along with producer extraordinaire, the man with the mic, the man who's as close to being Jamaican as any man has ever been before. He is Josh Otson, who works 9 different jobs here at NRG Media. What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
Good. Reavers got a big win.
It's always good when the Reavers get a big win.
That's right. And now they have to go and try and stop DeColdest Crawford this weekend. Blast from the past.
When he was recruited, and being he's a Louisiana guy, so people come to me and they say, "Hey, what do you think about this guy?" And I said, "Here's what I know about Louisiana recruiting. There are 4 different regions in Louisiana. There is the New Orleans market, which can have some good players. I will tell you, though, that the people that come from the New Orleans market aren't always easy to adjust to places like Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, it can be tough. Some of them didn't really know that marijuana was illegal because it's so common in New Orleans that, they come to Lincoln and they think, oh, it's legal. I can walk down the street. It's not. Anyway, the New Orleans market. Then there is the best part of Louisiana. Get a player from Northeast Louisiana. That is the West Monroes of the world, the Neville High Schools, the Ouachitas. That is just big, strong, some country boys, a lot of talent in that area, right? Then the third area is the Lake Charles area. So you're getting close to Texas now. So these are more Texas people, but still good. Once you get past Baton Rouge, once you get past there, then you're in the Lafayette and you're going over to Lake Charles. But the worst out by far is Northwest Louisiana, which I don't even believe is Louisiana. It's more Texas. Shreveport area up there, not great. I've watched a lot of football from that area, a lot of teams from that area, not great. And so when I saw that DeColdest Crawford was coming from that area, I was like, hey, well, let's see, because a lot of players that come out of there aren't very good. DeColdest left here and went where, Josh? Do you know? When he originally left here.
He left here. He went to Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech. Played at Louisiana Tech for what, 1 year?
I'm going to guess, yeah.
And then now he plays for?
Butler Community College.
Butler Community College. I wish him all the luck in the world, but from my experience, student athletes from that area usually aren't as good as the rest of the ones that come from Louisiana. So, is he having a huge year at Butler Community College?
5 touchdowns.
Good.
He has only played 4 games. I don't know why he missed the first 3 games of the season, but.
Do you know who else went to Butler Community College? And the older I get, the more I doubt myself. So I know this is the case, but because I don't trust myself anymore. I have to make sure that. Yes.
I don't know who you're thinking of, but you're going to say the name, and I guarantee I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I did know that.
Okay, I was wrong, and I'm glad I looked it up.
Oh.
I had him completely confused that he went to Butler. Mike Rozier went to Coffeyville.
Coffeyville, yeah.
Coffeyville Community College, right? Yeah, not Butler. Yeah, somebody from basketball that I can think of went to Butler, but I don't remember who it was. But good for him. I hope DeColis Crawford has a wonderful career. I hope he is very successful in his career, and I just when Nebraska brought him in, and that was brought in by Mickey Joseph too. Mickey was the one that convinced him to flip and come. I thought, I don't think he is a Big Ten wide receiver. And so far, I think that's kind of the case. But anyway, so that's good. When is that? That's Saturday?
That would be Saturday, yeah.
At what time?
5:00.
Ooh. At home or on the road?
Under the lights in El Dorado.
Oh. So it's for you, it's El Dorado, not El Dorado?
Yep, it's El Dorado.
Okay.
Apparently.
So there's a few of these. There's one in Arkansas, which is El Dorado. There is a high school in Albuquerque called El Dorado. And now the one that is in Kansas. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
That is El Dorado?
Yep.
Like the movie. Right? Isn't the movie with John Wayne called El Dorado?
Oh.
Isn't that a John Wayne movie?
You would know, John Wayne expert.
I am not a John Wayne expert. I just remember that movie being one that people talk about a lot as a great Western. Maybe I'm off. I don't know.
I don't know for sure.
You never know. So obviously, what the talking points are today, and until we hear from Matt Rhule at around 11:30, we're sitting here knowing that it's a broken fibula. We don't know exactly where it is. I will tell you that bone is a very interesting bone in terms of the leg, because it's not the serious weight bearing of the lower leg.
Clearly.
There's multiple ways you can break it. And I will go in the order of which it's most serious. So if it's a compound fracture, obviously, well, let me say, if it's an open compound fracture, that's horrible. That is a bone that breaks so bad that it actually breaks the skin. Obviously, you don't want that. It separates. Traditionally, in a situation like this, it is what you would call a fracture that happens from somebody twisting, right? The twisting fracture is what you get when you basically twist an ankle, or sadly to say, it happens a lot with parents who get angry with a child. It'll happen. And that causes small fractures in the fibula that will be painful, obviously, but that you can recover from pretty easily. The most common one in a situation where you are twisting your ankle to the point like he is, usually you break the fibula right at where the ankle bone goes to the fibula. So the tibia here, that back part, it's the bottom part of the break. If it's not splintered, it's just a clean break, 3 months, you're back to go, you're good. You got to deal with some pain. Once the bone is healed, you'll go get some stim. It'll make you feel a lot better. You'll be fine. But there are times where it breaks to the point where it actually is a compound fracture at that point. Then that's a much longer time that you're out. And you'd hope that wouldn't be the case. Basically, the fact that he was walking on it, I would assume it is a fairly small fracture, and that he'll be fine, like I said, in 3 months. But you got to give him props for dealing with that pain, because once the adrenaline wore off from him being on the field and got it taped up and was just walking around on it, that shows you how tough of a dude he is. And the fact that he wanted to go back in, I'm glad that the trainers said to Coach Rhule, he can go in, but he probably shouldn't. I'm glad they did that, because I'm sure they knew. So, there's a lot of different ways to figure out what an injury is, right? Obviously, if it's an ACL or any of the ligaments in the knee, there are certain testings they can do to figure out where the pull is and the loose and the give is, right? Usually for a broken bone, it's a couple different things in the leg. So you can always check to see what the feeling is like in the big toe and parts of the foot. But more than anything else, it's pure pointed pressure. So you're putting your hand on where the pain is, and you can literally at times feel a break. You can. So I don't know how they figured it out, or what they knew or when they knew it, but I'm sure the trainers did a great job, and hopefully, like I said, he's good to go. But now we are into the TJ Lateef era. And there's a couple things about this that I find incredibly interesting. The first one is, what does this mean for the lineage of quarterback at Nebraska? Because we were kind of set, weren't we, Josh? You had Dylan Raiola this year and next year. You had his brother coming in next year, but you had Lateef there, who would have been 3 years in the system or 2 years in the system, who probably was going to be the third-year guy playing. Then Dayton came in. He would be redshirting. And then the year after that, Trey Taylor comes in. He's probably redshirting his first year. That's kind of your lineage. But now, what happens if TJ Lateef goes in the game starting on Saturday late at night at 8 o'clock in Los Angeles, and he performs well? What if they go 3-0, go to a bowl game, and he plays really well? What does that do? Do they say to themselves, this is our future? Do they say that line that you hear a lot where you can't lose your job to injury? What do they do? Is spring a wide open competition? Because by spring, for the most part, I would assume that Dylan would be healthy. So springtime, is that an open competition?
I hadn't thought of this as a possibility all weekend.
It is the thing I have been considering. Did you ever see the movie Joe versus the Volcano?
Yes.
The line where he goes, do you ever think about luggage? I have been thinking about this like that guy thinks about luggage ever since they reported yesterday. Because the way it is now, opposed to the way it used to be 10 years ago, the way it is now, how it's been the last 3 years. If a quarterback looks up and doesn't see the chance to start pretty quickly, then they're looking at the portal.
Yeah.
I know there's
there's only one portal window.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm thinking out loud.
I'm with you. There is one portal window. And maybe, but you can, I don't know do we know how close Raiola is to graduating? I know it would only be 3 years, but is he close? Because sometimes if you graduate, all bets are off, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's anything to do with that. I don't know, man. And he could also just walk on someplace, right? You don't have to worry about the portal window if you're willing to walk on someplace. Isn't that correct? Because that's what
I don't think there are any rules anymore.
That tight end that came from LSU, Mark Way.
Oh yeah,
just walked on. I think you can just walk on. But anyway, not talking about Dylan Raiola yet. But somebody is going to move on. Because at some point, if Dylan comes back as a starter, TJ's in his second year, Dayton is in his freshman year. And they're looking ahead saying Trey Taylor has basically ingratiated himself to the entire state of Nebraska, and everybody already loves this guy. So what direction do you go? An open comp, if TJ Lateef plays really well, which I think he will play well, if he plays really well, an open competition in the spring would be the best thing for talk radio that's happened in 2 decades.
That's right.
It would be great.
That's what it's all about.
You guys don't probably remember 2007.
I don't.
And the conversations that were happening on this radio station about whether or not Joe Gans, who hadn't played yet, maybe should have a chance to start, or Sam Keller, who had transferred in from Arizona State, was just given the job. And it was a conversation that was had back and forth between Kevin and I many times. And then, Josh, I had the opportunity to go to the practice. And they wouldn't let us shoot practice. So I did the morning show from there, right? I did my live shots from practice. This is when they were doing some 5 a.m. practices under Bill Callahan. And they let me stand looking at the practice, but the camera had to face the other way, so it was the wall with the big N on it. This is inside. And I watched those guys go against each other, and I'm like, Joe's the better quarterback. He's got more zip. He's got mobility. He's the guy. Kevin Kugler, who was right about a lot of things, but not about Sam Keller, was saying Sam Keller should be the guy. I think in the end, I win that one. I didn't win a lot. I think I won that one. Anyway, yeah, that's what you would get. You'd get one of those interesting type of summers or springs going into summer and then fall camp where the conversation is, who is the starting quarterback at the University of Nebraska? That would be incredible. Do you buy that as a possibility?
Yes.
Or this happens. TJ comes in, and I'm going to stick with playing well, and plays well. Season ends. You go to spring, and they say to him, TJ, thank you for the wins over UCLA and Penn State and that great win over Iowa. And thank you for the bowl win at Music City Bowl or the Tampa Bay Bowl or whatever bowl they go to. But they say, hey, look, Dylan is our starter. You're the backup. That's how we're going into the season. And then TJ's got to figure out what's he going to do at that point, right? And I know about the portal window and stuff, but he's got to figure out what he's going to do at that point. So that's the other scenario. And then there's a scenario where he's a freshman quarterback. He goes in and he struggles. And they win 1 of 2 or 2 of 3 or however it happens. And then it's still a given that the quarterback who's being your starter and who is the face of your program comes back as the starter. All those things are possible. We will take a break because we were way over and we got all kind of breaks. I want to get into how good the defense was on Saturday. I know we've talked a lot about the injuries and quarterback and all that, but how good the defense was. It was kind of historic when it comes to going against a USC program. We'll chat about that. Also, a little bit more on what I think about TJ Lateef as a quarterback and much more. Of course, we'll hear from Coach Rhule about 11:30 right here on the Connor Happer Show.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry, you can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single
I wasn't sure if there was going to be like a snippy like open or like some kind of, Connor drop or something.
No,
that
I
goes
just
there.
wanted to get you right back
Just
into
right
it.
back in there.
And then I was looking at the monitor for something else.
Oh, okay.
And then I didn't communicate that.
That's okay. I was just kind of hanging out going, I like this music. I'm just going to hang out and see what I'm supposed to do. Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show. Connor is out. We'll be back tomorrow. Is he doing something involving volleyball again?
No, today it is Kids Day at Husker women's basketball.
Wow. Okay.
So he's doing the PA there.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad I could help and come in and fill in while Connor is handling some business. Again, I want to first start off with TJ Lateef and thoughts on this whole process of where this has been going. Because it's kind of strange the way it's not strange because every market, every team I've ever covered in my life, the backup quarterback's always been incredibly popular. That's just given. That's what happens. I will never say that I thought that outside of games where you're blowing somebody out or getting blown out, you have to put in the backup quarterback. I know what Missouri did with Chase Daniel and Brad Smith. I was watching when that happened. I truly remember them bringing in Chase Daniel after being up, I think 10 or 14-0, and Chase came in and it completely destroyed the rhythm of the team, and Nebraska ended up winning the game. But anyway, I am not for that. I don't believe you just give a guy a series or two. I don't believe that. I believe if you have a quarterback who's your starter, then you play your starter, and you play him whenever he can get reps, unless you're either getting killed or killing somebody. You're beating Akron up, you're beating Houston Christian up, you bring in the backup quarterback. That's when he gets his snaps. I understand. I get that. That's how it should be. I do not believe you just play a guy one series or two series. Now, there is the difference where it involves somebody like Arch Manning, who Arch Manning would come in and basically run the ball. I'm not talking about when he played when Ewers was hurt. I'm talking about when he came in on those specialty plays. He was essentially coming in for like the Arch Wildcat thing, right? And he was running the ball. That's different. You're not bringing him in to have him run the offense. You're bringing him in to do some specialty things. Am I against doing some specialty trick stuff? No, that's fine. Trick stuff's fine. I'm not bringing him in for a series when my starting quarterback is Dylan Raiola. I'm not doing it. Outside of that, now that he's the quarterback and you had a chance to see him and you've seen what he can do in limited time, as I said, going into this is a guy who never got first team reps in practice. You just don't get that. You give the majority of the reps to the starting quarterback. You have, yes, a knowledge of the playbook, but you don't have a knowledge of standing there in front of 87,000 people with the defense trying to kill you in the Big Ten and know what's going on. So that's, like I said, they had to go to the wristband and they had to huddle and they had to do things you do with a backup quarterback. If you have to do that, do you have to do that when you bring him in for one series when Dylan's healthy? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to change the way you run the offense because you're bringing this guy in? That's just silly. So again, now that he's getting full practice reps, now that he's the guy, now that you can build a game plan around him, I think TJ Lateef can be successful. Here's what I wrote about him when I did the 2025 Husker recruiting class. We do a special every year for Big Red Wrap-Up. I said, this is going through his film, aren't 6'2", 190, 4-star, quick release, and really accurate. I like the way he managed to get his feet right on delivery. This is a key. I am huge on form, sometimes to a detriment. There are quarterbacks I've thought in the past that weren't going to be good because of how bad their form was. Phillip Rivers, the way Phillip Rivers pushed the ball, the way he threw the ball, I thought that couldn't be something that would work in the NFL, and it did. But in terms of footwork, getting your feet right directly affects the way you throw the ball. And he did it very well. There'd be times where he was on the move on his high school tape and he got into the right footwork. There were times where he was in the pocket and had to shift because he had a rush, got his feet right. I love that about him. I go on, I put moves well in the pocket. I put functionally mobile, a plus runner. When I say functionally mobile, that's what I write when the guy is not a dual threat quarterback. And even though TJ Lateef may be a dual threat quarterback in fans' minds, in his mind, he's not. he will tell you he is not that. He is a pocket passer first who can run. He is a plus runner. Like I said, if he needs to get out there and get 5, yes. If he needs to get 10, yes, he can get 20. But the functional mobile stuff also relates to what happens in the pocket and the way you can make guys go. Talking about his high school, they throw a lot of quick stuff, but he can also push the ball down the field. That's just something that jumps out at you on his tape. The ball would explode, not a big guy, but the ball would explode off his hand. You'd see him throwing the ball, and you think to yourself, okay, this is probably a 30-yard ball. Instead, it was a 45-yard ball, right? All the way down the field. So that's very good as he does. It'd be great if he's a little taller, right? But he stands really tall, and he's got a high release. The reason why Russell Wilson could operate in the pocket when he first started playing in the NFL at his height was because of how he stood and his release. The thing that made Drew Brees a good pocket passer at his height was not only could he stand tall in the pocket and had a high release, you ever notice how Drew Brees would get up on his tippy toes sometimes in the pocket to be able to see better? The higher you can make yourself when you're shorter, the better. That's what he does. TJ Lateef stands up tall and throws it over the top. The comp I put down for him was CJ Stroud. Now, I did this back in, this would have been, January or December of last year.
That was a compliment then.
It's still a compliment, even though he got dropped on his head last week on Sunday. But that was based off of the way CJ moves in the pocket, the arm strength, and the way that he always seems to get himself in a good position to throw the ball. That was my comp for him. But yeah, I've always liked him. I think he's a good ball player. I think he can be a very good quarterback. But on the other hand, when you have a guy who is your starter, and it is a complicated process, Damon and I used to have this conversation all the time. Because especially when you're a coach, you're thinking team first. And that's understandable. It's team. But the only position in football where they made a phrase for you is QB1. People don't talk about QB1 running back 1. They talk about QB1 because when you're the starter, you're the starter. You're the guy that guys go to. You're the person they look up to. You're the person who signs the autographs. You're the person who's responsible for the wins and losses. You're QB1. And it is a difficult situation when you're QB1 to be able to mess around with that. So that's another reason why I wasn't a huge fan of putting in TJ Lateef for those 1 drives. But still, when I watched him play and I had an opportunity to see what he could do, I feel pretty good about what he can do in the offense. I love the idea that you can run more zone read. One of the things that we saw with Jaden Maeva in that game was he had 4 runs essentially. He had a 6-yard, 9-yard, and 2 16s. And one of them was kind of a scramble. The other 3 were called runs. And just the devastation it does to a defense when you can do that to them. And all of a sudden now you're on your heels. Now when you run that counter play and you don't keep it and you give it, the linebacker's worried and they're having to lean back over and make sure you're not keeping the ball. They're waiting. The safety's waiting an extra second to see what's happening. And then maybe the third phase of that RPO is you throwing the ball. You're not running it. You're giving it to the back. Oh, nope. Now I'm throwing the ball. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of that. And I think that I have a feeling that TJ Lateef will stretch the field. It's something I've been calling for with Dylan Raiola. It's something that I've wanted to see him be more accurate at, which he hasn't been, especially over the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks and a half, I guess. But when you watch him and you see the way that he has his ability to get his feet right, arm slot right, that ball he threw to Hunter, I know it wasn't complete, but it was on the money. It was right there. He had another pass that wasn't as good, but I think that he'll be able to stretch the field a little bit better. Your thoughts on TJ Lateef and everything else, 402-951-1620. Always welcome, of course, your phone calls here on the Connor Happer Show as well. But that's what I'm most excited about. I'm most excited about the zone read stuff that he can do and the fact that I think he'll be able to he'll stretch the field. He'll make the attempt to throw the ball. The throw that Jordan Maeva made on the delayed flea flicker, That's a throw that, first of all, it's a dime. He put it in the perfect spot. But you know what he did? He had confidence that his wide receiver would get over there and make the play. And I think too many times Dylan Raiola has been too cautious in some of those, not necessarily put it up there for his wide receiver to make the play or his tight end to make the play. And you end up in a situation where he is, I believe, over the last 3 weeks now, 3 of 16 in throws or 3 of 15 on throws over 15 yards or 15 or more. So you don't want to avoid that. 402-951-1620. Oh, Scott. Yeah, Scott, I feel the same way. Scott joining us here on the Prairie Flower Zone hotline, casino hotline. What's up, Scott?
Good morning, Michael.
Hey, man.
Hey, so you mentioned one of Mayava's 16-yard runs.
Yeah.
That actually went for a touchdown. I watched that play probably 50 times yesterday.
Me too.
And I am absolutely beside myself. Now on the TV, I was at the game, but when I watched it on the TV, they were blaming our freshman North Dakota nightmare for doing the wrong thing, and I think he absolutely did the correct thing.
Took the dive play.
He took the dive back, and so he's a freshman, and Donovan Jones is a redshirt freshman, and Donovan Jones had the wherewithal and the sense to see that the tight end went in motion from the slot and is coming across his face, and Donovan Jones played that absolutely perfectly.
Yes.
Got higher than and one point is standing at the line of scrimmage, and his read should be, there's nobody left. It's Mayava.
Yep.
Mayava is 6 yards deep behind the line of scrimmage, and Vincent Shavers simply takes an atrocious angle, and it spills outside for a 16-yard touchdown. Whereas
Scott, I don't think, real quick, Scott, I don't know if it was the angle or his lack of explosiveness. Like, I know the angle, but the reason is because he waited to all of a sudden go after the quarterback. He waited. There was a I don't know why. He waited. Like, there's like a little bit of a hesitation in him. He almost takes a step inside before he goes to the outside.
Exactly. That's why I thought it was the angle, because when Mayava is coming towards the line of scrimmage, Shavers, I thought, was 2 steps too far inside.
Yeah.
If he's looking for any help whatsoever, he needs to be outside hat.
Yeah.
And that he should be able to make that play. And if not, it gets spilled back inside for a no gain instead of a 16-yard touchdown.
Yeah, too many times you see players not remembering that your friend is the sideline, and all you need to do is turn them back into your other friends who are your teammates.
The other play that I had was, and I did it there, and I dislike doing that because obviously they're college kids. But Watson Trent on the final touchdown.
Yep.
We were in a line stunt, and all of our down interior linemen stunted to the right, and Watson Trent allowed himself to get hooked by the tight end, and by not being outside hat, and that play just leaked faster than you could fill the bucket, and it was very disheartening.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues they have right now, and it's why I've been really hoping that the freshmen can get in there and play more, is that I don't know, they don't have a complete middle linebacker or a complete inside linebacker, I should say.
Thanks for the call. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I think so. Like Watson Trent, who I think is great in the box the majority of the time and really good against the run, isn't necessarily good when he's got somebody he's got to deal with in pass coverage. I think Vincent Shavers going straight is great. Going forward, going back, left to right, his lateral movement isn't great. And then you got a guy like Javin Wright who can do a bunch of things, but still, I would love to see go in the future and see how it's going to look when you have somebody who has the athleticism and to play in this system. I'll be happy to see that. One more call.
And maybe you answered this already, or maybe you discussed this already and I missed it. But with Lateef as the starting quarterback, is Gramstad the likely backup, or do they try to get, I can't remember his name, the Purdue kid ready?
No, I think it's Gramstad. I think it's Gramstad for sure. I don't think that they're gonna, because that's the guy who had the 2 spot before he got passed by TJ. So I think you bring in Gramstad because at that point you're your third quarterback. You want somebody with some experience, and Davila doesn't have experience.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, man. No problem. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. More of your phone calls if you want to call before Matt Rhule speaks at 11:30. I'm going to get into the defense and some of the issues that happened, and how good they were while the offense wasn't necessarily helping them out. When we come back here, more of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
I have a Sports Illustrated
you don't.
from
Good Lord.
the greatest World Series of all time.
Look at you.
Now, what if Young Kim would have been on there? I would absolutely. I don't know why it's not.
Is
Scott
Young
Brocious.
Kim in there?
The Diamondbacks are up 2-0 in the World Series, so this is early. Okay. So Young Kim hadn't happened yet.
Gary and Matt, The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7.
Mostly sunny and pleasant for your Monday. A high today in Omaha of 63 degrees with winds remaining light and variable. For tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming mostly cloudy, a low of 42 with winds out of the south up to 10 miles an hour. Even warmer with more sunshine for your Tuesday. Highs tomorrow near 70 degrees with breezy winds out of the south up to 15 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. You read the news and you hear so many things about tariffs, trade deals, stock markets coming down, and then going right back up. How do you make a decision to buy a home with all that uncertainty? I'm Brent Rasmussen, a mortgage specialist, and if there's one thing I know, nothing is certain except uncertainty. Even though the housing market nationwide might have cooled, Omaha is still a great place to buy a home. But it helps to have a good guide like Mortgage Specialists. We can help you make a plan that works for you, your family, and your future. Because nothing's more reassuring than when plan A may not be right for you, there's a solid plan B right there, ready to go. How's that for a little certainty in an uncertain world? Give us a call at Mortgage Specialists.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to protecting your home, J. Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, J. Stennett Contracting has you covered. This fall, consider gutter guards to block debris and prevent clogs and save you the hassle of regular maintenance. Schedule a consultation today and let J. Stennett Contracting's expert team and durable gutter guards ensure your gutters are working properly in every season. J. Stennett Contracting. We have you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Have you been injured in an accident? You shouldn't have to fight with insurance companies or deal with medical bills alone. You need an experienced injury lawyer who'll protect your rights while you focus on healing. At Chandler Conway, our team understands the legal process and will handle your case with dedication. Our goal is simple: to secure the compensation you deserve. Call us today or visit chandlerconway.com for a free consultation. Don't face this challenge alone. Let us support you every step of the way.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Fall's here, and just like your favorite football team, your home needs a strong defense. Don't let a broken furnace cost you more than a free agent signing. Skransky Heating and Cooling has kept Omaha homes like yours comfortable. Their playbook, a fast, reliable furnace system check that keeps your home warm, safe, and game day ready. Call Skransky Heating and Cooling today and schedule your furnace check before the cold takes the field. Get details at heatomaha.com. Skransky, your home comfort MVP.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day. Host Coffee is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show, 402-951-1620. You can always call the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline to get a hold of the show. You can also comment in the YouTube comments as well. How good was Nebraska's defense on Saturday night? USC, as you know, 135 passing yards. It's the first time that USC had been held to fewer than 150 yards since 2018. That's 83 games. 83 games. When it comes to doing this to a Lincoln Riley-led offense, whether it be here at USC, at Oklahoma, any of those times, I could not find a quarterback that had that kind of game. I just couldn't. I couldn't find it just going through. Nebraska gave up 337 yards. Now, I've talked about the difference between home and road for USC. Overall, they were averaging 530, but they were averaging like 440 on the road. So still, it's still 100 yards less than what they were getting for the season on the road. It was the lowest total yards they'd had in 26 games, going all the way back to what was a very rainy and chilly game back in 2023 against Notre Dame. And as we say each week now, again, Nebraska holding an opponent under 400 yards in total offense. First 9 opponents now to fewer than 400 yards. First time that's happened since the best defense in Nebraska's modern history in 2009. If you look at the points per play and all of the analytics for it, that defense is one of the best ever, going back to 1971, Nebraska's defense. But that's incredible defensive play. USC came in with 9 3-and-outs on the season. They only had 5. They went to the Notre Dame game and had those, and Nebraska had the first 2 drives 3-and-outs. That's a remarkable way to start. I wonder what the game would have been like if Nebraska had got to 14-0. One of those next 2 drives, when they stop USC, they actually score, get it to 14-0, what that game would have been like. Let's go back to the phones and talk to Random Mike. What's up, Random Mike?
Hey, you're getting me excited about our quarterback. I loved your evaluation of him. But tell me this.
Yeah.
He's got the ability to be a dual threat. He doesn't want to be a dual threat.
Correct.
If you're a dual threat, if you're a dual threat quarterback, isn't the zone read great for you?
Oh, definitely. Mike, I want to say real quick, the reason why he says that, there's a stigma sometimes for African-American quarterbacks that they're only runners. And so I think it's drilled into their heads that it's better to carry yourself as a pocket passer. That's the way I believe it.
I understand that. Yeah. And frankly, if you want to be a pro quarterback in the NFL, it's best to be an athlete that does not think of himself as a dual, that is mainly a thrower.
Right.
You got to be mainly a thrower. The thing I didn't like about it when he got in there was he just wasn't ready for whatever reason, and the announcers, Ty Blackledge, had no knowledge that he was a well-rounded quarterback. It was like, oh, he's just a runner, and they're not going to. If you heard what Blackledge was saying, and I happen to like him,
yeah,
but it was no respect for the fact that if you looked at the kind of quarterback he was, all the big schools wanted him, and it wasn't because he was a dual-threat quarterback. He was a complete quarterback.
Right, I agree. Yeah, sometimes you're bouncing around from game to game, and you do your research, and you know all the starters and maybe some of the backups. I'm sure they probably did no prep on T.J. Lateef, thinking he would never play.
Yeah, and the way he looked, even though that long pass was fairly accurate. So we have a chance this week to really shine. I mean, it's really exciting to think of what he's capable of. But if not, I'd like to see Gramstead in there, because, like you said, he's more ready than the other quarterback.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Random Mike. I'm going to go over some UCLA stuff. I'm going to go over there, some of the stats and some of the things interesting about that team after the noon hour. Real quick before we take a break, let's go to Jake. What's up, Jake?
Hey, man. Hey, first of all, man, I want to know you always have a great show, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And secondly, I would say this. Well, you need your own show. I'll just put that in there. But secondly, I would tell you this. I think if our secondary is really that good, then why not stick with a four-man front? If the secondary is really that good, and they're better in man, and I know we've got sometimes we're playing zone, why not put a four-man front in there? And the second thing
Jake, real quick before you move on to your next point, they don't want to take the jack off the field. That's why. They like having the jack on the field. Go to a four-man front. That's who leaves the field.
Well, if you're going to leave the jack on the field, then we're going to get the same results the next 3 weeks. I guess, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What's going to change? And the other thing I was wondering on offense, I was waiting for something creative to happen. I was looking for something different defensively. Offense, I was looking for a different game plan, and we didn't have it. Riley did. I mean, he had it with that fake, pitch back to the quarterback. I guess we're just so vanilla, and this offense does not look good the last 4 weeks with Raiola. They got to come up with a different package for this new quarterback. I don't know if it's just passing it to Emmett, passing it back to him for a pass. We got to get some vertical downfield passes. Even if they don't work, just throw them deep. Somebody's got enough speed on that team with all the receivers we got where they can get open, and all we got to do is hit one. You hit one, it's going to loosen it up. So I just want to know your thoughts, man. And Mike, man, I really appreciate you, man. Every time I love calling in when you're on, but man, they need to give you your own show for us. I appreciate you.
No, man, I'm done with that. I love doing it when I did it, but I appreciate that. So there's a couple things about what you said. One, there are certain coverages where you're just not going to get guys deep. There's some hole throws you can make for sure, but there's certain coverages where they're going to limit you being able to stretch the field. I do believe Nebraska needs to take some more chances. I'm not a big gimmick play guy. I'm not that, but I will tell you that I was hoping that there'd be something in that game to try to steal a possession, some sort of trick play or something like that. I was kind of hoping for that. The other part of it is I believe that TJ Lateef is ready to go. Is going to be very good with a full week of practice. And I think that he, for the most part, if you watch the way he played, I thought he was in pretty good control. He made a couple nervous plays. He fumbled it 3 times, 1 time on a snap, 2 times we're running out of bounds. He's got to secure the ball better. But I thought overall he handled himself pretty well for a guy who hadn't had any first-team snaps and hadn't been in the game since Houston Christian. We'll take a break. Hopefully we'll come back with Coach Rhule at the podium here on Connor Happer Show.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
When I need a new furnace or AC, I choose a company that provides solutions that meet my needs and budget.
When my furnace or AC needs repairs, I call a company with reliable technicians, not commissioned salespeople.
When I need a straight answer, I choose a company that is honest and has integrity.
At Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we provide the best solutions for your needs and budget. It's just part of
the way we do the things we do. StandardAC.com. Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Host Coffee stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
John Higgins Weather Guard, Omaha's roofing, gutter, and siding company, would like to thank our new customers affected by this year's spring and summer storms. We appreciate you hiring and trusting us to repair your roofs and homes. You made the call. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
John Higgins Weather Guard.
Make the right call.
Cross Strain Brewing Company, the official sponsor of One Beer Friday on 1620 The Zone, where beer is Nebraska fresh, never boring, and always evolving. Find them at the original location in La Vista, at their DraftWorks location downtown, or at crossstrainbrewing.com.
Sunday morning is all about church, bacon, and the Sunday paper. Right next to church and bacon, Sunday's made for hot takes and reactions on Severe Reaction. Join me, Michael Severe, Sunday on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction from 8 to 10 after every game. What went right, what went wrong, and an honest take on what happened on game day. We'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sunday mornings from 8 to 10, powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and by Nebraska Medicine, together extraordinary, on 1620 The Zone.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Get into Prairie Flower Casino and get in the game. Prairie Flower has hundreds of the hottest slot machines along with the PFC Sportsbook and your favorite live table games. Looking for a bite and a beverage? You'll love all our options, including Sky Bar and Grill with nonstop sports on our wall-to-wall TVs and the friendly service you know and love. Play longer, win more at Prairie Flower Casino, just minutes north of downtown Omaha. Must be 21. Please bet responsibly.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
All right, it's Monday. You know what time it is. It's time to join Coach Rhule for his Monday press conference.
About the All Blacks and how they've been an iconic team, and that had kind of lost their way, and then they had to rebuild. And when they rebuilt, they went back and studied their past. They have, I think it's 15 rules that they started to live by, and one of them was plant trees that you'll never see, and it's about leaving places better than you found them. And I was obviously disappointed after the game. I really wanted our seniors to have a chance to continue to battle and fight to be a CFP team. And you think about planting seeds that you'll never see. We're obviously disappointed about the game. We'll never accept losing. We'll never make excuses about losing. But I do want to say that I thought the effort of the guys that won't be here, in the future when all those things come to fruition, I thought the way they rallied around Dylan when he got hurt and then rallied around TJ, the way that they carried themselves, the way that they played, I think it's the first time that they've been held to 21 points this season. USC's offense was the first time that they've been held to 337 yards since 2023. I thought the way they fought and battled and competed for each other when they had some bad breaks, I think those are the things that you can build off of. I thought what Troy Dannon and Courtney Gaucher and Brendan Meyer and the marketing everyone did with the blackout will have a profound impact on what we're trying to get done moving forward. I thought our crowd, our student section, I'm standing out there with 5-star after 5-star after 5-star after 4-star after 4-star and saying, look at that student section. Guys said, I've never seen anything like it, And while we're disappointed, we still show up the next day to work and we meet with all the recruits and we talk to them and they're ecstatic about what they saw here. And so I do think it's important while we're disappointed and angry and upset, to also be very, very, very grateful for that atmosphere, for that crowd, for that opportunity. And I'm really proud of, to be quite honest, I mean, I didn't sleep on Saturday night, and I came in to watch the tape first thing, and some of the best football many of our guys have played. I mean, significantly. And so we're sitting here at a crossroads right now as a team. And it's an unbelievable opportunity for us. See, if you go back to my first year at the press conference, you know, what do they call it, the Big Ten Media Days? If you remember, which I probably don't, I said something like, we have to learn to get people to respect Husker football again. And, you know, we've had a chance to play Michigan and we lost by 3 points. We had a chance to play USC. We lost by 4 points. So we have to chase those 3 points and those 4 points. We have to get better. We have to continue to recruit. We have to lift and run and do all those things. But I also think these next 3 games are some of the most important time for our team and for our program moving forward. This team, the guys that are here, they deserve to leave as winners. They've done everything we've asked them to do. And B, you know, we have to on a national narrative, we have to become someone that people respect. And it starts with ourselves. When we respect ourselves and don't talk trash about ourselves and don't go out there and, you know, not do things right. Like when we do things at a high level, we show respect for our program and our future, then I think people nationally will. So I know for me this week, I'm going to do the best job I can for TJ Lateef, because leaders insert themselves in the point of friction and try to take stress off. And I know Sierra Wright, and I know Javen, and I know Deshaun, and I know Rocco and all those guys. Every single person in our organization is going to try to do a little bit more so that TJ Lateef can be successful. And I think we could be like an average team and just go out there and be disappointed, you know, that we lost last week and have a bad week, or we could come together and unite. And so I told our guys, either you're in or you're out, and they've all said that they're in. And I would say that to everybody. It's going to take every single one of us, but people nationally will never respect us until we respect ourselves. And I'm talking about our conference, the decisions that they make. I'm talking about the national media. I'm talking about fans. I'm talking about recruits. We have to, in my opinion, at this time, come together and absolutely continue to sow seeds that will manifest themselves in the future. So I wanted my team to hear that. I believe 100% in TJ and what he's going to get done. And we're going to put a great game plan together for him. I hate it for Dylan. I love Dylan. You know, if anyone says anything about Dylan, just know this. The kid had a broken leg and he was warming up and begging me to play. That's all you got to know about that kid, to know who he is. I got home that night. I didn't know when I was sitting here with you guys. I thought he had an ankle sprain. When I got home, and literally my daughter was the first person to tell me, because I go one way and my daughters were walking through, and they found out as he found out in the training room, and the doctor called me to tell me what character, what toughness. And I'm very grateful for him. Grateful for like the O linemen who, you know, haven't gotten reps at tackle, and also they have to go out. Tyler has to go out and play tackle. So we'll come together as a team this week. Sorry for that being so long, but I thought I needed to at least address the positives from Saturday.
Does Dylan need surgery? Like, what is his road ahead?
Dylan will have surgery this week.
What is it exactly?
Broken fibula.
Right. Is that like, how many months would you say until he's full?
I don't want to start talking like I'm the doctor. I know when they told me, they said if it could be surgical, could be non-surgical. They said somewhere like 8 to 12 weeks, but I don't want to start getting into all that. But it is surgical. It was recommended surgery, so it's not like it's like a hey, battle your way through it type deal.
You travel to UCLA?
He'll be having surgery. Yeah. He was out there in practice last night, with TJ, working with TJ, and wants to be a part of everything. But the most important thing for him right now is to get healed. So he wants to go to UCLA, and I told him he can't go.
Regarding TJ, what are the key questions in your mind as you get ready for the week?
I think making sure that we put together a plan that he's comfortable with everything that he needs to do. As I said, I think guys are going to have to do a great job of being strong around him. But I mean, even in the game, like he came out with a check on down in the red zone, and he checked it. He saw 0. He checked it to a tunnel screen. Jacory's wide open. He's going to walk in. He just dropped the snap, and so he's mentally though at a really, really high level. And so he just needs reps. When you're the backup quarterback, you're getting reps, but not as many. And so now he needs reps. Jalen needs reps, and anybody else we use at quarterback will need reps this week.
Does Marcos then go to the third spot, like your third traveling quarterback?
With Dylan, how would you summarize what he got done and how he helped the program this year?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I think Mitch asked me a great question. I didn't know how to answer. Like, hey, I thought we were in a great spot in that game. Like we had done a great job of establishing the line of scrimmage, running the football, not taking sacks. And I felt like, we got to that point where like, hey, we were going to be able to really kind of open up in the second half and kind of take off. And, but Dylan, to me, when Dylan decided to come here, he legitimized coming to Nebraska on the national recruiting scene. And that's allowed us to get other big time players. He played as a freshman, which is, you have all the accolades and you take all the arrows. He came in this year. He was better. He was in better shape. He's grown as a leader. And as miserable as this time's going to be for him, this is a really good time for him as well. He's going to have a chance for once to sit there and watch. I think that's really valuable for when you don't have the pressure of playing. You get to sit there and watch and learn. I know he'll be involved in game planning and ideas, and he'll rally around TJ. I mean, it's just such a. I got a text from TJ's dad saying, hey, on behalf of please don't let Dylan know how much we care about him. Then I get a text from Dylan, can I please go travel for TJ? And then, it's just, he's just such a great teammate. And if you watched it, after he got hurt, every single player on our team, I think, went up to Dylan and hugged him, say, hey, we got you. And no one knew what it was at the time. They just thought it was an ankle. So I think when you have a player that gets that much notoriety and accolades, and he's as humble and as team as Dylan is, it sets the tone for everybody in the building.
How did TJ get in the backup job back in training camp? And you've been through this before with true freshmen and other places. How do you prepare a true freshman for this season?
Yeah, I think. I think he did. He's really smart. So he was always on time. Always knows the progressions. Always knows the checks. So you can trust him in those things. He's got amazing arm talent. He can spin it, and he can run. He can move. So I think when you're playing, young players. Pat Stewart had mentioned this to me like a couple weeks ago, just in the NFL. So one of the guys he was with the Patriots with had said, if you want to draft a quarterback and play him young, he better be able to run because the game goes fast and you have to move. Even in the game the other day, you saw TJ was able to run some zone read RPO plays. The guy wasn't open. He was able to run. He was able to run on some plays. And so I think he was able to just kind of bring a little bit of all that to light. And so, this week to me is not about TJ, at least my message to our guys. It's about everyone else making this where every single person has to do their job at such a high level that TJ can just do his job and not try to do anything more. But TJ can do his job. He's an excellent player, and I think everyone's going to see him play really, really well.
How do you go about starting to talk with him or prepare him at all for not just the fact that it's his first start, but that it's at the Rose Bowl, right where he grew up?
Yeah, I think we have, is it 6 guys, going back home, to California, which I think is cool. And I think California is an area we want to continue to recruit. USC, we were before the game, we had a bunch of kids from California. USC's coaches were kind of creeping over to them. I told them, get away from the guys. I mean, good for them. Those are great guys on that coaching staff. I don't mean that in any way other than just being funny. But I think it's going to be exciting for TJ. One of the things that has impressed me the most about him since he's been here is just his humility. He's just one of the guys. He's just a great young man. I mean, he gets good grades. He's never on a list. He's never in trouble. His family's awesome. And so, I coached him on Sunday like he was a veteran. I mean, I showed the opportunities we could have had. Hey, if you do this, because I want him to know that I have so much confidence in him that I'm going to coach him like Dylan. And, Sam asked a great question after the game where he said, hey, maybe could you guys have taken a couple more shots? Well, they were called, and sometimes they were there. And whether it was protection, whether it was he ran instead. And so TJ's our starting quarterback now, and he's a starting quarterback in Nebraska. So when I talk about people respecting us nationally, it's part of that is us too. Like he's got to go play the way guys play. And I can't wait to see him play. I mean, for me, that's why I talked about this time for us. Like, okay, Matt, like you think you're a good coach. Okay, Dana, you think you're a good coach. Now go do this. Go win these games. Go take a freshman on the road twice and come back and play your rival. And that's, either our team, like I said, they either go like this or they come together like this. And so like either you're with us or you're not. And that's everywhere. I mean, either you're with us or you're not. And so what I've seen is our guys all be with us, and I love it. They're coming together. They're rallying around him. And it would just be so average, Mitch, to like go out there and be like, well, we got a freshman quarterback and it is what it is. Like, no, we're not doing that. We got TJ Lateef, and we're going to rally around him.
How's Emmett's body been holding up with the workload through 9 games?
It's amazing. I mean, we were out there practicing last night, and he's out there flying around. I mean, he doesn't take he's really evolved. Doesn't take a lot of like direct big shots. He does such a good job at the point of contact of cutting back and avoiding. You talk about a story now. This guy's one of 2 players in the country with 1,000 yards rushing, right? I think he's second in the Big Ten in rushing, or leads the Big Ten in rushing. Second. So, I just really, really proud of him. And I think, every game, I still wish we'd get the ball to Mosey and Mackay a little bit more. I mean, I think they've earned those opportunities, but the guy, he's just hot, and so we went into that game knowing, hey, in this weather and we wanted to really establish the run early and then let that open up. Even that last drive of the first half, we went down and scored the touchdown. You started to see us open it up a little bit and throw the football. But no, Emmett looks great, looks healthy.
What is the conversation like in your mind? You only gave up 21 points. You shut down their passing game, but you gave up 200 yards rushing. How do you reconcile all that? How do you think through that?
Yeah, so I'm never going to be okay giving up 200 yards rushing. But this is like last week, you guys kept asking me about this is one of the most prolific offenses in football coming off a bye with everyone healthy. And Notre Dame was able to hold them to 396. We held them to 337. What I showed our team was there were 6 plays. Okay, so we stopped them on second. On third down, they threw a big fade. They then ran a zone read, which got into his job, unfortunately, and they ran it. They ran a zone read again. They ran a 2-point play. Then they got the ball back. They threw an incomplete pass, and then they threw a flea flicker. So in 6 plays, they had 107 yards. And what our team needs to do and what our coaches need to do and what I need to get us to do is settle down on those 6 plays when things start going bad against us and just play the next play a little bit more focused and not worry about everything. So we gave up 337 yards. We gave up 107 of those yards in 6 straight plays. If they don't get the pass interference in the end zone, put the ball at the 2. I mean, we were playing good red zone defense, which was one of our challenges this week. We held them to 2 field goals early on. DPIs in the end zone, they put the ball at the 2. That's difficult sledding, obviously. But if we were able to stop that one, but no, yeah. So we're not going to ever be okay with 200 yards rushing, and it's not like we're sitting there like in a light box playing pass. Like we're playing the run, but they ran the quarterback, and we had a quarterback player. We got to make those plays. But it was just they're an excellent running offense, and we knew it was going to be a challenge all night. And I was really proud of the guys. They tackled well. The least amount of yards after contact we've had in several weeks. So they had their best week of practice, preparation, everything, and they showed up to play. And wish I could have helped them get 4 more points.
That said, UCLA this week will challenge you with another running quarterback. What have you seen from Nico and how much they run him? And just the challenge will be to kind of slow him down.
Yeah, he's elite. He's an excellent player. Obviously he leads them in passing. He leads them in rushing. So it's really a tale of 2 seasons. You take out the first part of the year, right? They're 3-2 in the Big Ten. They're 3-2 under Coach Skipper. In the Penn State game, he was their leading rusher. He willed them, and it was really not even design runs. It was drop back, quarterback scrambles versus man and versus, I wouldn't even, not even like undisciplined passing lanes. He's just that athletic. They were running him some design quarterback runs earlier. He started getting hit a lot. I'm sure coming off a bye, there'll be some design quarterback runs. And so I have the utmost respect for him as a player. His dad was here this summer at the Adidas 707. He was a great guy to get to know, great to know. We recruited his younger brother. So I have a lot of respect for the way he plays. And they have got receivers who can get open. They've got an excellent run game. They've got a good athletic defense. But he's an elite player. And so it'll be the same challenge as last week, a guy who could do it all. So he did some things last night. He battled through it. So I think this week will just come down to if he's ready to play or not. And Turner's beat up at this point. Tyler, they all are. Our bye weeks next week, but there's no time to even think about bye weeks right now. So I'm assuming that Elijah will get himself ready to play.
Who's behind Knack and Corcoran at tackle?
So you got Elijah, Tyler, and Turner, and then the next up is Preston Tomua. So Preston's been repping at left tackle last couple of weeks, and when we were going to go some of our jumbo stuff, he was going to go in and play. So he's really developed. Grant Bricks would be at the right tackle. He'd be at the left tackle. So those guys they're coming along. Those guys have kind of
moved around a little bit in their careers, right? They played a little guard, a little tackle.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's just kind of been a war of attrition with some of the other positions. Like, you might be, a guy like Preston, he might be best suited at 335 pounds to be a guard, but he's so athletic he can play tackle. So you start him off at, hey, what's your best position? But as we've had this run of injuries and all these things, so Gunner's having surgery So he's done for the year. So, always Teddy's done for the year. So as you have those injuries, other guys have to step up. Knee, and not an ACL or anything, just cartilage meniscus, that type of stuff.
Coach, I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like on Saturday, but is it still a cool deal for your kids, even you as a coach, to coach in the Rose Bowl?
You'd have to ask the players. I don't know if they watch anime or watch football now. It depends on who it is. I was a GA at UCLA. It was one of the best times. Julie and I had no kids. We were so poor. We didn't have enough money to this is true now, get the pilot light turned on in our house. So we had no heat, no electricity, but you didn't really need it. We had a 1-bedroom apartment. I got a little motor scooter because you could park for free on campus. She was the breadwinner. She she had a great job for us, and it was just her and I, and so I finished my master's degree at UCLA. I met some amazing people. I loved it there. I got to meet John Wooden. And just got to sit there and talk with him. Just one of the most, I was raised on Joe Paterno time. And so the thing started at like 8 a.m. And so I was there at 7:30. Not a lot of other people were there at 7:30. So he spent like 20 minutes talking to me where I was from. And at the end of it, there's 200 people in the room. And as I was walking out, he said, "Give my best to Julie, Matt." Like, just the most amazing man. So yeah, for me, going back to UCLA and going back to the Rose Bowl as a player at Penn State, we went to the Rose Bowl. I didn't play in the game, but I was there. And then I had a chance to coach there under Coach Snow. It'll be awesome. I worked with Kelly Skipper, Tim Skipper's brother. He was our running back coach. And so I think Tim's doing a great job, and Jerry Neuheisel, the OC, is doing a great job. So they've got things rolling. So it'll be an unbelievable battle, an unbelievable challenge.
You mentioned watching back the film, there were some guys you felt were playing their best football. Any specific guys that stood out in that?
Yeah, I'd say across the board on defense. I mean, it was by far defensively I don't want to single anybody out because like Rex Guthrie made plays, Donovan Jones made plays, our linebackers all made plays, our D line came off striking, getting off blocks. I mean, you saw Keelan flashing, you saw Petschok. I think you could see him really accelerating his. He's got it figured out now. So, when I talk about planting seeds, like those guys, like they played early, they try to figure it out. Now you're starting to see it come to fruition. I thought our offensive line, to have 188 yards rushing and literally in the second half, I mean, it was just like they put everyone down there and we still continue to make plays. I was proud of them. Luke Lindemeyer, and just across the board. I mean, Jacory, you wish Jacory had more production because he was wide open a couple of times, but just couldn't quite make the plays happen. But they all flashed and played hard, and so we'll have to just do it again, but do it better this week.
After Minnesota, you said good teams don't lose back-to-back games. By the way, as a great coach, Steve Kerr always says, what's the message that you have for the team this week?
Yeah, so to me, why do you lose back-to-back games when you're still living in the past and you're letting that upset you? Letting a loss. They always say as coaches, like, don't never let a loss beat you twice. You're thinking about last week. We quickly moved on from last week. No, we went through the tape. Like, we came in, we practiced. And that's why I say I didn't sleep that night, right? Because it's like, I always say to myself, if I feel that way, like after Minnesota, I was angry. I wanted to fight somebody because of the way I thought we had conducted ourselves. I was disappointed in this game because I thought we battled and we had really tough situations, whether it's the pass interference in the end zone or whether it's, Dylan going down or whatever. And the guys I kept seeing them rally and taking it to another level and fighting, so I was proud of the effort, but not, the results not good enough. And so, I think the key to us was to tell the guys, like, hey, you had your best week of all this. You've gotten better every week with your preparation. It showed up in the game. You have to now do that again, and you have to do it even better this week. And so you can't go through the motions. And I think the message for our guys about, rallying around each other and making it about us. And when I say us, I'm talking about all of us. I'm not just saying the football team. I'm talking about all of us. Like, you're with us or you're not, right? And so, like, that crowd, like, not many people have that crowd that we had. And I know right now we're going to go out to the Rose Bowl and we're going to have, like, this is the most ticket requests for me. My wife sends in a ticket request. This is the most tickets I've ever had to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everyone's excited to be there, and then we have friends out there and people are going out. So I just know that it's an unbelievable opportunity, and we're going to be grateful for the fact that we get a chance to go play a hot UCLA team in the Rose Bowl, 8:00 at night, in front of a huge Husker crowd. So I think it's not living in the past, but just always saying what's next and moving on to the future and being grateful for the future that you have.
Back to the key fourth down situation in the previous game. Why was the first time out on that sequence called?
So, great question. So we had decided that we were going to come out and we thought we could make them jump. You know what I'm saying? So we said, hey, we're going to go out there. We're going to do it. We're going to try to make them jump. And they didn't jump. And so I didn't want to take the 5-yard penalty and punt it. I said, hey, we're probably going to go for this. And then just, the reps and things that TJ had done and all those different things, it just felt like as they were talking, I just felt like, you know what, take the points here. Was that the right call? Well, it didn't go through the uprights, right? So, I said in front of the team yesterday, I said, hey, I have to own that I made that call and I made that decision. But, we go in the game with one plan on 4th and 1 in those sort of areas. And then as the injury happened and just, hey, what does TJ have reps in? What does he not have reps in? I just made the call at, hey, you know what, we're going to go with this. And so,
series, like if the clock was running down and you were talking to the refs.
Yeah. Well, no, that had nothing to do with the refs. I thought they should have pumped the clock, right? Because they had shut one of our players down. There was some stuff going on. I just thought they'd pump the clock. And so, getting the play call in, he's using the wristband, getting it out, all those different things, them all being lined up. And so I was yelling at the ref to pump it. Like they pump it. They whatever, doesn't matter. They pump it most of the time and they didn't pump it. And I'm sitting there. So then he got the snap off in time. So again, I have to own, but I just didn't want to take, I thought we were in good position. And with him on the plus side of 50, I said, I'm going to use this timeout. I'm going to just settle it all down. At the end of the day, I hate using timeouts. I usually just take the penalty. At the end, I don't know that the penalties hurt us because we still had the ball with a chance to go in. And, but it still wasn't what I would have liked. But, sometimes when you guys ask me those questions, I'd have to start throwing people under the bus. Well, this guy didn't get this, and I don't really want to do that. So I'd rather just say it's me. But as we sit here now, it's just really like the clock. And I thought the official was going to pump it. And when he did, and I started yelling at him, they had just knocked one of our guys down, and there was an altercation. Like, well, let's just pump it and play football. So.
With this trip to UCLA, will you guys do anything different? Like Maryland, you guys went out a day earlier. Is this a standard trip with a night game?
Standard trip. Yeah, when I worked for Tom Coughlin, every time we went to the West Coast, we just went out and we kept everything on our time. That was before iPhones, and it changes the time for you. So everyone just kept their old BlackBerry or whatever on the East Coast time. And, going east is a lot harder, obviously, but going west is a lot easier because we'll get there and, and it'll be, we'll leave here at 1, we'll get there at 1:30, so once you get there though, the traffic, the drive, there'll all be challenges, but yeah, we'll go out Friday. We found out obviously after the game that it was going to be a night game. So obviously we'll get back really late Sunday. I'll give the guys Sunday off afterwards so that they can, we'll probably won't get back till 5 or 6 a.m. so they can sleep.
With TJ, you've mentioned before, Glenn Thomas holds those guys, not Dylan, to the same standard as Dylan. How much is that useful at this moment, I guess?
I think it's great. And, our process, a lot of guys, when they come in, they're struggling with it. They're used to like, hey, in a period, hey, we'll give 10 reps to the ones and 4 or 5 reps to the twos. And we don't do that. We give equal reps to the ones and twos. And I think you can see why now, right? Because now you have your backup right tackle, you have your backup left tackle, you have your backup quarterback. And thankfully they've been getting reps all year. So they've been trained. Now in game week, the quarterback gets a few more reps. So I'm hopeful this week, and we'll probably give TJ some more reps this week just to make sure he feels really good about everything that we're doing. That's, I told the team last night, like, hey, I know it was a late game, but we're going to go out and practice tonight. I think TJ needs that. And every guy was like, yeah, they do.
Here. So has John. But can you comment on the job that he did on Lemon Saturday night, and how maybe it's sometimes hard to judge him because the stats aren't there since nobody's throwing at him?
Yeah. I think when you're a really good corner, a really good DB, you shouldn't have a lot of stats. Now what happens is sometimes in college football, there's a lot of teams that play a lot of zone coverage, and so guys will have 4 or 5 picks. You see it sometimes when guys come up in the portal. To be quite honest with you, Mitch, like they'll say this guy has 6 picks, and you watch him, and then you watch his man-to-man reps. You're like, wait, he's not really a great cover guy. This ball got tipped, and he caught it because they're all playing with vision of the quarterback. We play probably 60 to 70% man or match coverages, and so our eyes are on the DBs, and so that's why I said to Sip earlier, like it's not like we're sitting there playing with light boxes and trying to defend the pass. We're playing man, you know what I mean, and just saying, hey, we're going to try to defend the run and stop you. So I think Sierra's been fantastic. I think Donnie, Mar, all those guys in the back end have played really, really good football. Rex Guthrie stepping up, but Sierra, when you play, he made the move to go into nickel, and when you play nickel, you have to defend the run. You have to be able to go play a half. You have to be able. So he does a little bit of everything. But Mekhi Lemon's one of the best players in the Big 10, in the Big 10, and I thought Sierra played him really well, and really proud of him.
Merritt been dinged up? Dawson Merritt.
Yeah. He was questionable for the game. Got banged up last week in practice, so I'm hopeful maybe we can have him this week. I am not sure though as of right now. He didn't go last night. We'll see if he goes tomorrow.
Was Cortez Mills available last week too?
Yeah, I believe he was out there at one point. So
What about Quinn Nye?
I just pulled his hamstring late in the week, so he was. They warmed him up before the game, tried to get him moving around, and just wasn't able to go. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Matt Rhule, Monday press conference, answering a ton of questions. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the answers he had and go over a couple more things from the game on Saturday. Eventually look ahead to UCLA, and after 1 o'clock, we'll chat with Sam McKewon on what he thought about what Matt Rhule had to say as well. When we come back here, I'm Michael Severe sitting in for Connor Happer on the Connor Happer Show.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Him and Arch, man, that's fascinating. I mean, Arch is among the most hyped prospects that I can remember since I've been doing this job. Dylan Raiola is the most hyped quarterback coming into Nebraska in many, many years. And they're the same guy.
Imagine it's the beginning of the season, and you say, in the middle of the season, Arch Manning and Dylan Raiola are going to be the same.
You're like, whoa, Nebraska is going to be awesome.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7.
Mostly sunny and comfortable for your Monday afternoon with the high today into the low to mid 60s and light winds shifting out of the south. For tonight, skies becoming mostly cloudy but remaining dry. Temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. More sunshine and breezy at times Tuesday, high near 70. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV News Watch 7.
Cross Train Brewing Company, the official sponsor of One Beer Friday on 1620 The Zone, where beer is Nebraska fresh, never boring, and always evolving. Find them at the original location in La Vista, at their DraftWorks location downtown, or at crosstrainbrewing.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show. I'm Michael Severe, sitting in for Connor with Josh Hodgson, of course, running the board. That's what I was thinking, like one of those little return things, Yeah, it was like one of those return things. So I know we're back. Coach Rhule went over a number of things. Early on, you heard that Dylan will have surgery on there. So that kind of gives you a better idea. I'd love to know if the fracture is on the upper part of the fibula or the lower part of the fibula. I'm curious. Sometimes when you have a twisting action that happens, that twisting action on the ankle then, sends that force up to the top part of the bone, and that's where it fractures. Or was it something where it got turned over and it's right there in the lower part of it, which is a little bit faster of healing, I'm curious how much of it is that it's displaced to the point where they have to get stability in there and have the surgery and use the hardware. But that's not information they're gonna give us. But hopefully it's whatever it is, it's the one that helps him get healthier faster. And obviously the least amount of pain for the kid I'd like to see as well would be great. A couple other things in there. So he talked about that timeout they took after the play where Corcoran is pushing the defensive lineman for USC in the back. Defensive lineman turns around, and then he pushes Corcoran. Corcoran goes down, does a really, for a guy with as many surgeries and stuff, that was a nice little flip he did to get back on his feet. But anyway, he does that, and then Coach Rhule was very upset. He says the reason why he was getting on the referee was because he thought he wanted them to reset. He called it pumping the clock. He wanted to reset the play clock. He wanted to pump it up, right? Normally, you reset it like that if the delay of whatever happened around the play causes it to be where they can't get back to the line of scrimmage fast enough, Nebraska can't, and so you'll reset it. That whole process of the push in the back of the USC guy and then the push on Corcoran, I would say it probably took about 8 to 10 seconds. So maybe that would have been a call to reset. But even with all that said, Nebraska was still at the line and got the snap off at time. I'm just telling you, it looks like the fact that Coach Rhule was doing the yelling about first the Corcoran thing, and then he says about not resetting the clock, it looks like that threw them off to the point where they had to waste a timeout. And it's one thing to waste a timeout in the first half. It's another thing to waste a timeout in the second half. It's another thing to waste a timeout when you've got a freshman quarterback in his first chance to really play in a meaningful game, knowing, as you say all the time, this is going to be a close game, knowing you're most likely going to need those timeouts at the end. You're going to need those. And you don't get them. And that's frustrating. And then the fact that he talked a little bit about how they handled, kicking the field goal or not. And like I said, I'm not here to debate on whether or not you kick the field goal or you go for it or you punt. I will say they know the stadium and they know where it's hard to kick from. And you also know when it's cool and humid on top of it. That was what's strange about the weather. If you check the weather around 8:30, even a little bit earlier, it was up to like 62% humidity. Plus it was cool, which makes for a heavy air, which makes it harder to kick. So all those things together, at the time when they sent out Harburg in the Wild Harburg and sent the two tight ends out, I was hoping they would go for it. I didn't necessarily want to see Heinrich Harburg running either a tush push or whatever. I didn't want to see that. I think, well, let me go two things. One, if you want them to jump, right? If you want to jump, get somebody to jump off sides, you go out, in my opinion, you go out in a normal formation.
Yes.
You go out in a normal formation, whatever it is, 12 personnel, whatever you're normally going to run. And the function of it is exactly the same as it would function on any other down to give them the indication that you are going for it. So whether under center or in the shotgun, and probably most in the shotgun, and you give that clap and you try to indicate we are going for it to get them to jump. What Nebraska did was they came in with a unorthodox formation. And honestly, I don't think any of us thought, especially, so the clock, they get out there, they get under center right when it goes from 11 to 10. So that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to try to get them to jump. Then at the 7-second mark, that's when he shifts Lateef back over to the slot position. And at that point, they've already called the timeout. So they had another 5 seconds if they really wanted to try to get some cadence in there once you got Lateef set. But listen, Lateef hasn't been in that situation. I don't know how many times you practiced that situation. So maybe it was something where everybody was a little off. If you could do it all over again, obviously, you go for it. I think that's the case the majority of the time, especially when you're in a situation where they were. They were set up to kind of put the game away, right? Nebraska had a chance to put the game away. I thought in the first half that the 2 drives where they had 3rd and 10 and they ran Dylan one time and then they ran Emmett, that was an opportunity to, put some more heat on USC, especially after they had back-to-back 3-and-outs. You move ahead to that particular scenario when you've got the 4th and 1 and you're at the 34-yard line. Is that right? I think Nebraska, they were running for 5 yards a clip at that point. We saw Emmett finishing drives both the end of last week and again the beginning of this week. I'm probably giving the ball to Emmett there. And if nothing else, you've got your backup quarterback in who is more of a runner than your starter. We've seen a lot of quarterback sneaks over the years. How about line up in a normal formation, rush your quarterback under center, and go with a quick quarterback sneak and try to get it that way? It's better than lining up in that situation. They bring all their defense inside the tackle box, and then you've got to push them. I'd like that you spread it, and you run the quarterback sneak. How many times this year would you say teams have quarterback sneaked Nebraska that way? At least 5.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's been stopped. Not against in the Big Ten play, at least. We've seen guys go for 4 yards on a quarterback sneak. We saw Maeva go for a 2.5 on a quarterback sneak. I would love to see Nebraska do that. It's all 2020. I know what hindsight is, but even at the time, I thought this is the opportunity where you got your backup quarterback in. The question you also have to ask, Josh, I think, is how many times are we going to get back to this spot again? Got our backup quarterback in.
Okay.
USC is kind of playing a little bit better defensively than they were early. Are we going to get back here again, or do we have to take advantage of this opportunity? And I think I would have thought to myself, I thought at the time that they might not get back here. Now, the next drive, they did. They drove down, ended up getting a field goal. Great drive. Got into the position where they can get a field goal, a much easier field goal than a 52-yard field goal. But
I didn't care what they did. I just wanted them to commit to doing it instead of it seemed very indecisive, or there was some confusion, which is understandable, I guess, with Lateef out there. But just, hey, this is what we're doing. Go out there and do it.
That was my line, is that I didn't care as much if they kicked the field goal or not. It was the operation leading up to it that this didn't look right. And again, this is something we have seen. This isn't a situation where it's just with Lateef in the game. We've seen issues where they have struggled in decisions before on whether or not to punt or go for it this season with Dylan Raiola. We've seen this. This is not something that's new. This has happened a few times. It happened last year. And hell, in 2023, it happened a ton. Multiple games in 2023. I thought they had cleaned this all up. And obviously, from what we saw, it wasn't cleaned up. But that was one of the things that Coach got into as well. When we come back, some of the stuff that absolutely drives me crazy that this coaching staff does. When we come back here on the Connor Happer Show.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620, The Zone.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. Here's some good news. Home interest rates are coming down. The bad news? Sometimes if you refinance your home for a lower interest rate, closing costs can be through the roof. So, lower costs on the front end, hidden higher costs on the back end. We're talking thousands, sometimes up to $10,000. Ouch, that's a huge hit. If you're getting more than a few calls from lenders with offers to refinance, give Mortgage Specialists a call. We can help you by looking into all the costs, up or down. Then you can make a better informed decision whether you want to refinance or keep your current interest rate. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists and we can show you all the details. Mortgage specialists, driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, equal housing lender.
Hello there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. And yes, time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, what a great time to be enjoying the great outdoors of Nebraska as these days get shorter and cooler, leaves start changing color and dropping. So much to do. Hunting, hiking, biking, camping, fishing, wildlife watching, and so much more. Get ideas for you and your family to step outside on the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov, and we hope to see you out there. You know, it's time for hunting here in the Heartland, and before you go out, remember that safety needs to be your number one priority. Remind yourself to be doubly sure of that target in the background before you even aim. And in a moment, ask yourself, is that a legitimate target? Is the bullet flight path clear? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? You be safe out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620, The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show. We're on 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620, the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Outline. I'm sorry, Prairie Flower. You have a wonderful name. I keep messing it up. I'm so apologetic for it. Completely sorry for it. This kid gets more reps in. That's my problem. I've been getting the second team reps up until this point. I need to get some starter reps so I actually can, say some of the sponsors and things like that.
We called a timeout just before that, but
yeah, I know. And, I feel bad that you called the timeout. You know what I also didn't do earlier today was because we do have Sam McKewon coming up after 1 o'clock. I didn't say that the lineup was powered by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard either. And,
thank you for saying
I truly apologize for that because John's my guy, man. I mean, you say whatever you want. John's always been nice to me. The group over there at John Higgins Weather Guard has been great to me as well. Love the rooferees. Great job by those folks. Okay, so there's about 3 things. And this is just, look, I know I'm not a coach, right? I didn't play at a high level, Played a little high school football. I watched a lot of football. These are a couple things that drive me nuts. The first one involves my favorite position in football. And my favorite position in football, don't be dirty. I saw the look on your face now. My favorite position in football is the tight end. I have been a guy that when I played fantasy football, always drafted tight ends too high. I love the tight end. It's a combo position. You're part lineman, you're part wide receiver. Love it. And I love the way they used Lindenmeyer and the way they used 48. Eichenreich? I always say his name wrong. 48. I loved it. The wham stuff as they come across. They devastated the defensive ends and the rush ends for USC for most of the game. I tweeted this out. I thought those guys would be seeing 44 and 48 in their nightmares because they were getting popped every time. But the fact that they don't use Lindenmeyer enough in the middle of the field, there were several times where he was literally camping out. The guy had a fire going. He had the tent up. He was camped out in the middle of the field. Get the ball to Luke Lindenmeyer in the middle of the field. He's open a lot. You saw the 23-yard catch and run he had. But he's open more than that. This is a guy who needs 4 to 6 targets a game because not only does he catch the ball, look how he runs after the catch when you get him the ball in the middle of the field. I would love to see the same thing with Harburg. I don't think they're ever going to get to the point where they're throwing the ball to Harburg down the field, but I'd like to see that. What I don't like from the tight end, and this is what drives me nuts, is those lateral plays to them. These guys aren't built to catch and turn, accelerate, and go up the field. They're not. They're
not speedy like that.
They're not. They're not going to make a guy miss. It just doesn't. And the quarterbacks, by the way, when you throw that pass, it's got to be perfect. That pass has to be made on the front side. Boom, I'm taking a step. I'm going up the field. If it's a little behind them, it's not going to work. If it's a little high, it's not going to work. If it's a little low, it's got to be perfect. So it doesn't have to be as perfect when it's in the middle of the field. You ran one to Harburg. You ran one to Lindenmeyer. Stop running that play. You want to run to somebody, and even when you ran it to Barney last week, he got lit up for like 1 yard. I don't necessarily like that play in general. They've been running it for under Satterfield. They ran it. They're running again under Holgorsen. I'm not a fan of it. Not that I love the screens and I love some of the hot stuff. I just don't like the guy coming in motion and then you're throwing it as he is going across the formation. I'm just not a fan of that. So that drives me crazy. Use Lindenmeyer or Harburg in the middle of the field. Get the ball to those guys. Don't throw that route. The second thing, sometimes, and you want a great example of this, what I'm about to talk about right now? Hold on a second. I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to take a break, but I'm going to go to Brian on the phone because I'm just talking, boom, boom. He's sitting there waiting. I feel bad. Let me go to Brian. We'll get Brian, then I'll move on to the next one. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, don't feel bad, Michael. I was just listening to you. You're fine.
What's up, man?
Just some thoughts on Rhule's press conference. I didn't know if I was listening to a minister or a football coach there.
Well, you know, his dad was a preacher. That's what he's the son of a preacher, man.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. But it's just like, I don't think we need to hear all that. And he's trying to wipe shine on what happened, or I don't know how you say it, but hey, you lost. How are you going to correct it? We don't need to know what you did at UCLA. Just get your points across and have your press conference. That just gets so old week after week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I'm not very optimistic that we're going to see anything different because we haven't seen anything different.
Well, you say that, Brian, but this season is different than last season for sure. I mean, you're talking about three games where they won late. They had stops defensively, stuff they hadn't done previously. I don't know if last year they'd have played as well as they did for most of that game against USC. It is different, though, don't you think, from last year?
Yeah, no, you got a point there. No, it is. It is. I mean, at what point is this fan base just going to – I mean, I'm about ready to throw up my arms. I'd have to think everybody else is. I mean, this is getting old.
I know. You got to hold on. It's going to happen when you don't expect it. That's when it's going to happen. You know?
Okay.
All right. Hold on, Brian. Just hold on. All right. Man. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for calling. There is no doubt. Let me say this. There is no doubt that Nebraska, this sounds like I'm running for president. There is no doubt that in the last 3 years, you are better off than you were 3 years before.
Are you better off today than you were 4 years?
Exactly. It worked for Ronald Reagan. It works today. You are better off this year than you were last year. You're better off this year, last year, better off than you were in 2023. You're better off. There's a bunch of things. Look, I know the injuries on the offensive line drive you crazy. You know what drives me crazy? The defensive line being undersized because you lost Nash and you lost Ty, and for whatever reason, you couldn't go in the portal and get more size than you got. And the guys you did bring in aren't playing the maybe way you thought they would play. That drives me crazy. I get it. But that's not on John Butler. John Butler's playing with who he has. He's playing it the best he can with who he has. So yes, are you going to give up some runs? Heck yeah, you are. Are you going to give up some really big plays? Hopefully you don't, but yes, you will. What's more important? Limiting those explosive plays through the air or forcing somebody to go methodical on you and get 7, 8, 9 plays to get a score. I'd much rather do that. We saw it on the first field goal drive, right? Yeah, they had 3 plays in a row. I think on that first drive, they gained 46 yards total on the ground. But once they got to the red zone and they had to throw, you stopped them. Same thing happened to drive before that with the help of a penalty. So you have to do what's best for the personnel you have. If you don't have the size to be able to line up and say, we're going to stop these people running the ball, you allow some run game and limit pass game and hope that you can be a bend but don't break defense. That's what they are. The other thing that drives me crazy, and this is something I know that is near and dear to people's hearts. So Southern Cal, 4 times in the game, ran the ball on a successful running play. And you know what they did? They ran it again. Too many times, Nebraska has a successful run play. 14 yards, 9 yards, 4 yards. Those are all successful at different levels. And they don't follow it up by running it again. Drives me nuts. So the drive that started at 2:58 in the first quarter, USC ran the ball for 15 yards. That's play 42 total. On play 43, you know what they did again? They ran the ball for 13 yards.
I didn't think Lincoln Riley had it in him.
I know. And by the way, some of the things that Lincoln Riley did really helped Nebraska stay in the game. But so you look ahead and you go, the next drive, same thing. Run the ball for 15 yards, run the ball for 11 yards. There's nothing wrong with following up a good run with another run. Imagine going into a Chinese food place. You get your great food and you get your fortune cookie and you open it up and it says, there's nothing wrong with following up a good run with another run. And you'd be like, yes, this is my fortune. This is what I wanted. Nebraska needs to do that more. That drives me crazy as well. Let's go back to the phones. That's where Chris is this morning. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Michael. Hey, you brought up a good point, and we discussed this Sunday. I think Lincoln hit himself upside the head after he threw that interception, because if I remember right, they might have ran the ball 4 or 5 consecutive times, if I'm not mistaken.
On the drive before? Because that was the first play of that drive.
Yeah, well, after he threw the interception.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
To Marshall, when they got the ball back,
Yes, sir.
I think he ran it.
5 times. 5 times and they get a touchdown. Yep.
Hey, appreciate you taking my call. I learned something from you earlier, and this is so true. A lot of times we do not pause as men because we want to get our point in. So I'm going to make a concerted effort to pause with my comments. But please direct me, guide me, give me some advice. Am I off? Am I wrong? I do not dislike Rhule at all. I understand. I've coached at different levels myself, somewhat what goes into it. And maybe I'm just hearing him wrong. But his press conference seems to be a spin. He seems to focus on the positives. And I get that in terms of job preservation and or for a general feeling, the feeling of the program. But to a degree, it seems to be a bit grandstanding, maybe pontificating, and maybe those are strong words. Maybe it's rhetoric, but I'm not interested. And again, maybe it's me, talk me off this ledge into his contacts where he makes references to different quotes and the people he rubs elbows with. I'm really more concerned with focusing on addressing, fixing, remedying, subsequently the success. And ultimately that speaks to where you're at. Am I wrong? Am I off? Am I misreading this?
Chris, can I say this real quick? As long as he is doing the things you're saying behind the scenes with his assistant coaches and his team, I'm fine. I think he puts on a bit of a show for us in the press conference, which is appreciated by most of the media. But as long as he's saying the things you're saying about fixing and remedying behind the scenes, I don't know if it matters what he says in front of the camera. Do you? I mean, is it that important?
Yeah. Well, good point. Let me ask you this, though. Do we think he is? And the reason I say that, I'll bring up a couple points.
Okay.
Where he says you're with us or not, do you really need to say that as a coach? He's constantly said that when I coached and or forget that. Just in general, You don't have to say that at week 7 or 8, And if you're not with us, you move on. And those players realize, hey, why aren't I why aren't I relevant? And secondly, when he says things like, I knew we were going to struggle in Minnesota, but nobody else knew it around here. I had to convince that. You have to say that. I mean, are you really doing those things behind the scene? Is the performance indicative of him doing that behind the scenes? Because you're right. If it's done behind the scenes, and this is the presentation, PR, marketing, or otherwise, I get it. It comes with it. But I guess I'm trying to balance whether that's happening behind the scenes. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, it's such a mixture for me because as a kind of member of the media, obviously I want him to talk, but I do have friends just like you who say that he talks too much, that he says things he shouldn't say in press conferences. He shouldn't be saying that stuff. I don't know. It's a mixture. I want to hear the truth. I want to hear everything. At the same time, I'm sure it drives his assistant coaches probably crazy occasionally when he says something like that. I assume it would, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so.
yeah, let me leave you with this. I
Yes,
had a coach who shared this, and I use this in my life, my line of work coaching. At some point in time, we want performance over your plans and your presentation.
Yeah.
Great plan, great presentation, but we're measuring performance. And at some point in time, he's either doing those things behind the scenes and it'll all catch up, or we'll realize maybe not.
Yeah, it's a great business principle that definitely goes over to sports. Chris, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, talk to you later. Yeah, it's there is nothing more important in my life than preparation. I believe being prepared for whatever is coming is the most important thing. Obviously, that has the lead to performance, but preparation is the most important thing. And I thought they were ill prepared against Minnesota. I will say that till I go to my grave. And that was the biggest letdown I've had for Matt Rhule and the program, was the way they performed based off of what I thought was a lack of preparation against Minnesota. From here on, after that happening, you'd hope that they don't let that happen again. Mary and Bob, stay there real quick. We're going to take another break, get caught up on our breaks. But Mary and Bob, stay right there. We'll come back and get you on the Connor Happer Show.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Creighton Sports Update.
The Blue Jays tip off the season with a home opener at DJ Sokol Arena tonight when they take on South Dakota State. Be there as the Jays begin their chase for a 5th straight NCAA tournament appearance and an unforgettable season on the Hilltop. Don't miss a minute of the action. Get your tickets for tonight's matchup and every home game now at GoCreighton.com. And that's your Creighton Sports Update, powered by Monster Tree Service.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where did I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Cross Strain Brewing Company, the official sponsor of One Beer Friday on 1620 The Zone, where beer is Nebraska fresh, never boring, and always evolving. Find them at the original location in La Vista, at their DraftWorks location downtown, or at crossstrainbrewing.com.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
At Host Coffee, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise. A promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash. Fantastic. Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
There's a lot of professions in life that I would have done and been fine doing it. The one I would not have would have been a clown. Just saying. One,
I mean, isn't a daily radio show host kind of a clown?
I would say I'm clowny, but not a clown.
Okay.
Mainly because I can't put stuff like on my face. Like I'll put makeup on for TV and stuff, but
sure, okay.
But like paint and stuff, I could never do that. I'm warm. I'm very warm-blooded. And so I feel like I would get too hot if I had something on my face.
The cold.
Yeah, I love the cold. Love the cold. Let's go to the old rule used to be, when I was here a long time ago, was ladies are always first. So we go to Mary. What's up, Mary? How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Michael. Really like listening to you. I had a question on when Dylan got injured. It seemed like one of the UFC guys just jumped right on his back.
Yeah, he did.
What was that about? Is that legal, or I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, it's not illegal. It's dirty. I said this morning, Mary, I thought, if you do that, you're going to injure somebody. You know that as a defender. I thought it was a dirty play, but it's not necessarily illegal. As long as you're not pulling him from the collar, as long as you're not hitting him late, you're just pulling him down. In college football, that's not illegal. Now, there was a guy. Did you see the guy that hit Dylan upside his head? That should have been roughing the passer, because you can't strike a quarterback above the shoulders, neck and head area. That should have been a penalty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mary. Mary, in professional football, they have established a new rule about the hip drop tackle that involves a twist. And if you do that, they will definitely fine you and they can penalize you in the game. But that hasn't been something that has come to college yet. And inside the pocket, there's a lot of different kind of rules. Like for a long time, they didn't call a horse collar if it was inside the pocket. Go back to the phones where Bob is. Hey, Bob, join us on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline.
Hey, Michael, thanks. I really appreciate you talking X's and O's and analytics versus emotions. So I appreciate that. One of the things that Tom Osborne, I hate to go back to the 90s, but one thing he was really good at was one play in the first quarter would set up a play in the third quarter or fourth quarter.
Yes, sir.
You watch that screen that you talk about that they've been running and running and running. They fake that outside run to Johnson, and he's out there in the flat and could want to run a wheel route off that screen. And I'm just wondering, do they do a nice enough job? One play promotes another play. Because I think that's what Osborne is really, really good at.
Yeah, well,
your thoughts.
Hey, Bob, I appreciate the call. You're talking about one of the greatest play callers in the history of football, so comparing him to anybody. But Holgorsen does do a good job of setting things up. Hey, man, that middle screen was set up over time. That's not something you just call in the middle of the game. You've been flaring Emmett Johnson out and bringing Barney in motion and bringing him across. You're doing that, and you see it on tape. But that's the first time I've seen them actually set up that particular middle screen where you've got three offensive linemen downfield. You've got Emmett on the swing, so you look that way, and you come back and throw it to Barney across the middle, and he follows them on that middle screen. I haven't seen them run that this year, but I'm sure they were setting that up. Almost everything you put on tape nowadays is you're putting it on tape either for them to make them have to spend more time paying attention to what you're doing, or you're putting it on tape because that's something that works. You do both of those things. And I think Holgorsen does a better job than Satterfield did setting up plays. And, each one of those plays, you got the primary, you got a secondary, you got a tertiary play off of that. You got something off of it. And I think Holgorsen does a pretty good job. I thought that with Holgorsen, the three things I knew about Holgorsen based off of watching him the last job at Houston was I knew that he would highlight the X receiver. I knew the running back would get more touches, especially out of the backfield. And I knew the tight end or the slot player would also get some work on those mesh routes and some of the screen stuff they run. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I said when he got put in a position last year, I said, watch who gets the ball here, right? You're gonna see guys that you haven't seen, like Banks. I knew Banks was going to be a primary receiver and get more touches. And if you look over those last 3 weeks, he was. And you saw what happened with Emmett. You saw that getting the ball to Ramir in the bowl game. So I think he does a pretty good job at it. I thought it'd be a little more open on some of the things they do. I thought it would, but he's still developing. He's still getting to know all his personnel. Get the offensive line issue where you don't necessarily have the protection you'd love to have. It's a lot going into it, man. It's a lot. The screenplay, we talk about this all the time, but it's one of the hardest plays to run because it's not one guy. It's four people at least. Let's just call the offensive line men one person, the quarterback one person, and the running back. So he's leaking out. The quarterback is selling something else, and the offensive linemen are getting a chip or a little block and then getting out. And if all of it works great, you see the touchdowns. When the ball's a little off, like it was on that 3rd and 2 to Emmett, and because of that, Corcoran couldn't get over to where he needed to get in time, then all of a sudden, instead of it being probably a 10 or 15-yard gain, it's a 1-yard gain. So it's just
a lot more variables.
It's a lot more variables, man. It's football's. I always say, because it's Lombardi, but it's blocking and tackling, but it's blocking and tackling at an elite level with all these things happening around you. Did you remember the commercial, Josh, with Tiger Woods, where he's talking about, all I got to do is keep my head down and this elbow straight and open my hips and rotate. And then after a while, he says like 30 things. He's like, it's one thing, yes. But at the same time, all this stuff is that's happening around it has to happen perfectly too. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's a fascinating sport to watch. It's why I've said for years that I don't care what you think you know about what's happening on a team. If you're not at practice every day and in the meetings, you really don't know, especially on the offensive line. You think you know who has what responsibility. You think you know. You don't know. You can study the hell out of it and be really good at it, but every team's doing something differently, and every team has responsibilities that are differently, and they cover things differently, and so you just don't know. We can speculate, which makes it fun. I love speculating. It's fun. But you just never know, man. You think you know, but you don't. As the famous coach Jim Mora once said, you think you know, but you just don't know. And it's right. He was right back then. He's right now. I want to cover something real quick that I didn't get to on Sunday with Severe Reaction. I always go back and look at the keys to the game that I had for the game, and how it went, and knock those out real quick before we take our last break of the hour and get to Sam McKewon. Number one for me was, I always do kind of musical keys. Did you know that? I'm kind of musical. Anyway.
Every week it's a musical theme?
Pretty much it's kind of musical.
Okay.
Yep. Something to do with a band or something. So mine, the first one this week was Painted Black.
Yep.
And Be Loud. I thought the crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
3 false starts. I'm sure if you talk to Lincoln Riley, he would point to the reason for those false starts, especially that one, the critical one down in the red zone, was because of the crowd. They struggled with communication. You could see it, them struggling with it at times. Great job. Great job by the fans. Great job by the people who planned this out. Great job on the execution. Remember we talked earlier about preparation? That was 6 months of preparation that proved to be productive. That worked out well. Great job with the blackout. Painted Black, Be Loud. Number 2, one of your favorite all-girl bands, I'm sure, Salt and Pepper. Push it real good. Stretch the field. I wanted to see them try to stretch the field. You saw Illinois stretch the field against them. Notre Dame did it on the ground for the most part against USC, but Nebraska was 13 of 14 on short to medium passes against Northwestern, but only 1 of 6 on throws of 15 yards or more. You did see some shots, right? You didn't see a ton. Now, the throw to the corner that drew the PI, great. Love seeing that. Love putting it up out there. 14 yards was the pass for the touchdown to Dane Key, but still, great job. And then you saw, even when TJ Lateef came in, you saw the throw down that left sideline to Hunter. So we saw a little bit more of it. The USC defense, pass defense, wasn't great coming in. They were allowing 7.2 yards per attempt, which was in the bottom half of the Big Ten. At the end, Nebraska was only 4.5 yards an attempt. There are games you can win that way, especially if you run the ball well, but you'd rather be able to stretch it a little bit. Obviously, USC got the big play that we were talking about, the 40-plus yard one. The first 40-plus yard completion against Nebraska's pass defense of the season on the flea flicker. And then the last one is not as much a song, but a musician, Jamie Foxx. I know you don't necessarily think of him as a singer, but Jamie Foxx,
he's dabbled,
has got a complete he's got a complete wallet when it comes to talent. Comedy, singing, acting, can dance. If you really want to limit, you have to take something away, right? You take away his comedy. You take away his dancing. I wanted Nebraska to take something away from USC. They were a complete offense coming in. Even on the road, the numbers went down, but they were still complete. I hoped they'd be able to take away the run game. Being that USC was down to their third and fourth running back, I hope that was the case. But in the end, King, Miller, Jordan Maeva, and Brian Jackson averaged 6.8 yards a carry. They had 10 runs of 10-plus for 142 yards, so they didn't limit that. On the other hand, they limited the passing. Maeva, 9 of 23 for 135 yards and no passing touchdowns. That's pretty good. In order to win the game, I thought they needed to take something away. I thought they needed to get one play that kind of stole a possession, whether it be a fake on special teams. They didn't get that, or a big play on special teams. They didn't get that. They didn't necessarily get the greatest punting game. 2 inside the 20, but none inside the 10. These are all things that you love to see. Even with that said, Nebraska lost 21-17. Even with all that said, Nebraska had opportunities in the game to win it. Jed, talking about how good of a defensive performance Nebraska had, he said it was the second lowest completion percentage since Riley got to Oklahoma. 2015 versus TCU was the only one lower, and it was the second lowest passing yards. Lowest was Iowa State in 2021. Telling you how good Nebraska's pass defense was. One more phone call before we take a break, before we get to the top of the hour. That's where Jim is. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing well, man.
Hey, listen, I want to talk just a little bit. You know, I've complained a lot about situational game management and Raiola not being able to throw the deep ball. But what we have to remember is 80% of our starters are juniors or below.
Yes.
And I think about 60% are sophomores or below. So we have to give them a little bit of time to develop. And yeah, I'm not happy with everything. Obviously, I wish the last 3 minutes of the USC game had gone differently. But you have to keep things in perspective. I think compared to where we were in 2022 and where we are right now, I'll take that any day of the week, because we got recruits at that game that we never have gotten in the past, or at least since Osborne in the 1995 area. So that's all I've got, Michael, but I love your show. I wish you were on more.
Hey, Jim, I appreciate it, man. Talk to you later. Take it easy. You're right. I can't remember which one of the recruiting guys said it, but it was it must have been Sean Callahan. He said in the years he's covered Nebraska football, that was the highest group of, in terms of ranking, recruits, and the most that they've had that he remembers. And remember, they had some incredible groups that came in for Bill Callahan in that 2005 year. And then again, the 2006 spring game, remember they had a huge group in there. But as he said, you know, it's one of the best that they brought in, and Nebraska is incredibly young. Now, I don't know if young is the same as it used to be, because young used to mean these guys are going to eventually play. young sometimes now means that you got guys who are going to be leaving and going someplace else to play. So that's a little bit different than it used to be. But yes, they are incredibly young. You look at that defense, they've got some veterans in there that are going to be going that played very well. But at the same time, a lot of backups we can't wait to see. So a lot of guys, Dawson Merritt, we mentioned earlier. I can't wait to see Dawson Merritt. Gets a little more weight on him, and he's in there playing in the middle of the defense. And there's others, I think Raleigh Van Poppel, I thought he'd have a much better year this year than he's had. But I think next year he puts on, that weight's good, get that weight even better. And I think he plays a little freer. I think he was the anticipation of him being the next Ty Robinson wasn't great for him. He's had a couple of games recently where I thought he kind of had it going a little bit. So hopefully he's one of those guys that does that as well, that can produce and make it happen. After 1 o'clock, we'll chat with Sam McKewon. We'll take a break now. When we come back, catching up on what happened yesterday, just a little bit, here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 Zone.
The Connor Happer Show
I told producer Josh I desperately want to go home.
on 1620 The Zone.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around. And I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council. Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. 402-951-1620 is the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline if you want to reach us and chat about whatever you want to talk about. So yesterday, the NFL is just it's always been weird, but every year we say, oh man, the NFL, more this, more that, whatever. It's like this every year. We just forget. We're all about what's happening now, and I understand that. every year something really weird happens, or teams that shouldn't beat other teams. That happens. The injuries, right? The more injuries this year. No, there's injuries every year. But yesterday, just sitting there watching the NFL, I knew the Saints were going to win. I'm not expecting the Saints to ever win. Not this year, at least. I'm fine with that. But just watching the games and watching the way they came down to the end and some of the comebacks and the way players handle things, it's remarkable how quickly now in the NFL games and momentum change. It's so much, it feels faster. I'm sure it's not. Take that Bears and Bengals game, for example. Like, take that game, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game, and I literally, so I have, what I do is I have the 4 up. The Saints didn't come on until the afternoon. So I have 4 on one, and I had 3 on the other. So that was 7 total I was watching. The only game I didn't have up, I believe, was one of the blowouts. I didn't have up. But I had all the games up. And I kind of just tuned away from the Bears-Bengals game. Didn't even really think anymore that the Bengals were in the game at all. And then I looked up, and I saw that Flacco had the ball like around the 30, 25-yard line, somewhere in there. I'm like, oh, they could maybe, with a 2-point conversion, make this a 1-score game. 2 plays later, bam, 1-score game. Well, they're not gonna get the extra. They're not gonna get the onside kick. Nobody gets onside kicks anymore. If the ball is not going 10 yards and you are on the hands team, let it go. There's nothing good that's going to happen to you, for you, if you go mess with that ball when it's less than 10 yards. Anyway, they did. Ball gets tapped. Cincinnati gets the ball. They go down. They score. You're like, oh my, I can't believe the Bears blew this. Less than 40 seconds later, the tight end that I really liked in this drive, Loveland over Warren, I was a Loveland guy, catches the ball over the middle of the field. 2 guys collide, touchdown. All of a sudden, the Bears are leading. And you're like, what the? This game is just, it's drunk. Absolutely drunk. But listen to this. Joe Flacco, who legitimately could have a grandchild right now. I mean, I think he's got like a 19-year-old son. I think I remember reading that. 31 of 47 for 470. 31 of 47 for 470 and 4 touchdowns. Joe Flacco. This league is crazy, man.
He's 40, and I turned 40 this year, and my wife was cooking, and I said, hey, honey, I could throw for 500 yards in the NFL. It's still possible.
It's not possible at all.
It's not, but.
Yeah. 40 years old, man. 40 years old. So then I had some interest in the Falcons-Patriots game. Falcons were getting 4.5, so I was interested in the game. I'm paying attention. And the Patriots are up. It's 21-7.5. And then after that, it was 24-7. And I'm like, well, that was a dumb bet by me. That's silly. Look up again. That was the game I didn't have on. Look up and I go, wait a minute. The Falcons are back in this. And then look up, it's at 24-23. I'm like, okay, it happens so quickly in this league. The Colts come in, they're on fire. They're the team that no one can stop offensively. And the Steelers' defense is struggling, and they can't get any stops. And then all of a sudden, nope. Colts lose. Steelers play better defense they've been playing. Rodgers plays well. It's just a weird league, man. You never know what's going to happen. College football's close, but I don't think it's as strange as the NFL can be. Carolina Panthers, what they're doing, it's just,
they beat the Packers.
Packers have 2 losses, correct?
3
losses, but 2 of them are like Carolina and somebody else that's bad.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just very weird. Okay. All right. Let's get over that. Let's go to the man who is the sports editor for the Omaha World Herald, huh?
Browns.
Yeah. They lost to the Browns
and the Panthers.
That's crazy. Sports editor
2
for the Omaha
losses
World
and a
Herald.
tie. I'm sorry.
Tie. That's right. They have 2 losses. Yeah. Sam McKewon, of course. The man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. Let's start with the press conference. And, we had about 3 questions you really wanted to know. the timeout that was called after getting mad about what happened with the push on Corcoran, what happened on the decision to try to get them to jump, for sure, right there. Out of those couple, how you think he answered them?
I think we know what he was trying to do with the second one. Although what was interesting today is he said he actually was going to go for it. And then as he sat there and kind of thought about it, he decided to kick the field goal based on what he thought TJ Lateef could execute and not execute. And this is, again, just my opinion. I think they should have tried to either gone for it or punted it. I thought that the choice that they made was the least fruitful of those. I don't think you gain much going from 8 to 11. You have to assume USC is going to score twice. And I think it's more important in that moment to either keep the drive going and take more time off the clock, or pin them. Make them actually have to drive a long, long way in order to get that game tying touchdown. But anyway, there was that. The first burn timeout, he says that he thought they were going to pump the clock.
Yeah.
And I do understand that. And the NBC cameras are not perfect. I don't think he was arguing with the refs about pumping the clock. Maybe he was. Maybe that's what it was. I thought he was arguing with them about why they didn't throw a flag.
Right.
And then the clock didn't get pumped, and there was a little bit of chaos. And that was the moment they decided Emmett Johnson needed to come out for a couple plays and put Mekhi Nelson in. So there's just a lot going on in that moment. So he called a timeout because he was worried that the ball wasn't going to get snapped, but it got snapped, and it would have been fine.
Right.
And Mekhi Nelson would have gained a couple of yards. Now, would that timeout have helped them late in the game? Might have. You never really know. They were not running. They were not running a pristine 2-minute drill. We'll leave it at that. When they got the ball back, they did not appear to be in any sort of hurry. Nor, they seemed to be very, very cautious. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what was going on in that moment. They weren't really running tempo. They were just sort of running their normal offense, and things seemed a little discombobulated. So, no. I thought he answered them okay. I don't think it was their best game management moment. They've had a couple of those over his tenure, and they've got to be great. The last 3 games, they have to manage these games really, really well in order to win all 3.
Yeah, Sam, and I bring that up with the game management, and it's not just because of what happened on Saturday, but even going back to when he was at Baylor, one of the biggest criticisms when he was with Carolina was game management, and especially in some of those situations. And so when you think about it overall and what you've seen in these 2.5 years, or a little more than 2.5 years, do you consider that to be like a weakness in his repertoire as a coach?
I think it's an area. So to be clear, game management is at times in the eyes of the beholder. And some people would have said that Andy Reid was one of the worst game managers in the NFL at one time in his career. And obviously he's going to the Hall of Fame. And so it's in the eyes of the beholder. I'm not necessarily expecting everybody to be Mike Vrabel, who's probably about as good as it gets in that area. I do think there are moments where there can be improvement. And what's fascinating about game management is there's agreements and disagreements about exactly what happened. And so there have been moments where I agreed with him, which is taking the field goal at Wisconsin to tie that football game. Other people vehemently disagreed with that. And there's moments where I've disagreed, which is throwing the ball on 3rd and goal against Maryland back in 23.
Yeah.
Didn't think they should have done that. I thought they should have gotten the field goal and understood that the most Maryland was going to try to do was kick a field goal in kind, because in my mind, when teams have an opportunity to tie, they play for the tie instead of the win. In this circumstance, I'm not sure. I think, like I said, I don't think that would have been the decision I would have made. And from my perspective, I think there may be times when he overrates a quarterback's ability to go down the field and score a touchdown. I think it's very, very hard to do at the collegiate level and extremely hard to do in the Big Ten. And so there may be a little bit of that involved, but game management is really interesting. It's kind of in the eye of the beholder. I think Vrabel is probably about as good as I've seen at the collegiate level. Hard to say. I think Kirk Ferentz does a lot of things really well, but he almost cost his team a football game against Penn State by trying a 60-whatever yard field goal that he wasn't going to make, and they almost lost the game because of his decision. So there are moments for almost everybody where they don't get it right.
Yeah, and Ferentz was really bad at it, admitted to it, and brought in some extra help. That's 15 years ago now. And the thing about Andy Reid, I know people talk about this a lot. Andy Reid's problem was in the red zone. That was his problem more than anything else. His red zone play calling was brutal, whether at Philly or early on in Kansas City. I'm limiting the game management in terms of the issues to two things. The head coach job is, when to call a timeout and go or no go on fourth down. Those are the ones that I seem to criticize the most. And I've seen it this year where trying to decide whether or not they're going to go for it on fourth down. We saw that earlier in the year, and that's not with a backup quarterback. That's with Raiola. Those are the two that worry me the most.
What would you have done in that circumstance? Would you have punted it?
Well, I tell you this. If I wanted them to jump, I'm not coming out in a trick formation. I'm coming out in a regular formation because that makes you think you're going to go for it. So that's one thing I do. I would have gone for it. You were running the ball at 5.2 yards a clip at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
And you had a running quarterback in, the guy you consider to be a running quarterback. Whatever happened to doing the quarterback sneak, a standard one? You know, the one that everybody does against Nebraska? How about doing that? I would have loved to have seen that. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I would. This is, again, my opinion. I'd get rid of the Heinrich Harburg heat. Get rid of it. Just shelve it for the rest of the season. Or if you want to use Heinrich Harburg in that circumstance,
power sweep.
Bring him in and just run a sweep play.
But Taysom Hill.
Wouldn't surprise me if we saw him against UCLA. Yeah. That would be fine. Let's get rid of that play because honestly, it's a hard play to execute. It's a hard play for collegiate offensive linemen to execute. And Philadelphia's got it down. And they're one of the few teams that really understand how to do it again and again. So, from my perspective, I would have gone for it with a regular play.
Yeah.
But the second option would have been punting it. I would not have tried the field goal. I think they should probably look at analytics and say, how many field goals have been made going north into that stadium over 50 yards? I know Alex Henry did back in 2008, but I'm going to guess there's probably about 10 to 15 in school history that have been made from 52 or longer going through that way. And I just thought that was too great of a risk. And then, it opened the door for everything that else had happened. And Rhule took responsibility for that. I get it. But it's one of those moments. There's been 4 or 5 during his tenure. The Maryland one to me was the most glaring of the bunch, but I also didn't care for, the way last year's Iowa game was managed. I think you just go to overtime and don't allow that opportunity to even occur, but that's me. I'm different, and not everybody would agree with what I just said.
Sam McKewon joining us from the Omaha World Herald. So it's not even the direction's important because we know stadiums are different. Obviously, it's changed a lot by adding the north end zone eventually, or the new north, then the east part. Everything's changed a little bit. But more than that, Sam, there was 61% humidity in the air, and it was cold. The ball just doesn't fly as far. It just doesn't. And they've got meteorologists and stuff they can talk to about this. The ball doesn't fly as far when you got that kind of weather going on. So that was my concern about the field goal. But let me ask you this. So you had a chance to watch a little bit of TJ Lateef, almost a half of it. Obviously, you saw him play against Akron. You've seen him play against Houston Christian. What do you think about his overall ability to do everything they want to do? Because I know a lot of people say that he is very prepared. He knows the whole playbook. How do you feel about his ability to do that, to basically step in to what Dylan was doing and do kind of the same playbook?
I think he can do a good portion of it. And there's some plays that you bring off, you put onto the menu because he's your quarterback. Now he's going to have to get used to running against Big Ten defenses.
Yeah.
He didn't do that at Orange Lutheran, and he didn't do that against Houston Christian or Akron. So even UCLA, which isn't a great defense, is going to run a lot faster and hit a lot harder than Houston Christian did. And so he has to be mindful of that. So when he's trying to run, you're not going to be able to run around everybody. That's just not going to be that simple. He's going to have to be accurate when on the RPO. So they'll probably lean heavy RPO and throw slants and other things like that. He's going to have to be accurate there. I do think he's pretty good outside of the pocket. So if you can get him on a rollout where he's got levels of guys, I think that's something he can do. He throws a flat ball. And when you do that, you're not usually going to drop it in the bucket. You're not going to get it over the top of a defender, but you might get the back shoulder throw. I'm intrigued to see what he can do. Obviously he's not going to run all the stuff that Dylan was doing, and you might have a check with me system where, instead of Dylan making the checks, TJ's looking over to the sidelines and getting late signals with 10 seconds left on the play clock. That's possible. For what it's worth, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think they could have done that more with Dylan. So Go ahead.
I'm just that the deep throw thing. I'm really interested in seeing because I think Dylan's deep ball is broken. I think it's because of his lower half and what he does. I think it's kind of broken a little bit. The numbers show that out.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see how Lateef throws it, and if it is something besides just the way the quarterback's delivering it. Are the wide receivers not good enough to win the 50-50 balls or whatever else? But I that's one of the things I'm most intrigued at. I want to see him trying to stretch the field in something that hasn't worked for Nebraska much of this season.
No, you're very right. Dylan has struggled throwing it over the top. Now, sometimes guys are not open, but there's definitely things that, Dylan can work on as a deep ball thrower. Again, Lateef throws a little bit of a flat ball, so all that means is that when you're throwing it over the top, he's probably going to get a little bit more oomph on the football.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to watch out overthrowing people. But again, he can hit a back shoulder play, or we're just going to have to see. I think at this moment, I think TJ's got work to do. It's going to be a long week for him, and they've got to find a way to play better around him and get him going. So it'd be great if he hits a deep ball. Third and 4, what are you doing with him?
Yeah.
What are you doing on 3rd and 4? What are you doing on 3rd and 7? You can't run for it on 3rd and 7. If you're doing that, then you're playing a whole different kind of game. But on 3rd and 4, are you running it with him, or are you rolling him out and letting him throw to a tight end, or what are you doing on those sort of medium downs? When you're 3rd and 12, I'm sure they'll have plays. When it's 3rd and 1, they're going to run the football. But 3rd and medium, how are you going to do that? And when it's 3rd and goal at the 7, which may well happen, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you run him on a draw? Do you let him throw the football? Do you risk an interception? You got to think of all those processes, and they're going to have to spend literally all week long talking about it and thinking about it, and then they're going to spend all day on Saturday talking about it and thinking about it, and then they're going to get in the football game, and I'm sure everybody in that room is going to be like, man, can we return a kickoff for a touchdown? So that's 7 points we don't have to score. So there's going to be a lot of thought process about how to win this game. What makes football fascinating is it's not just make shot, miss shot. And in basketball, it's make shot, miss shot. That's not the way it is in football. You have to think all the way around how you're going to put together a game plan. And you have to think about, okay, what is our target number? How do we get there? And then you get in the game and you have to make adjustments. And I'm sure Nebraska was looking around 2.5 quarters into that game on Saturday and going, my God, this is exactly what we wanted.
Yep.
And then that injury happens. And then their adjustments weren't great. USC won the last 1.25 and they won it decidedly. And Nebraska probably wins that game if Raiola stays upright. I'm pretty confident of that. But that's not the way life works sometimes.
Yeah, Sam, when they hit the flea flicker, before that, he was 7 of 20 before the flea flicker. I mean,
it's a great call.
You can't ask more than to have your opponent quarterback, who's the number 1 quarterback in your conference, be 7 of 20 that late in the game. That is, I think we underestimate a little bit how good this pass defense is. I think we all were waiting for them to go against a really good quarterback, and they did.
Yeah, I've been high on them all year, and I've been high on John Butler all year. So, I think John Butler's doing a really, really good job. I think their corners are doing a really, really good job. And I think one of the compromises they made in this game, and people are going to crap on their run defense, but you know what they did? They kept those safeties back, and they didn't give up a 70-yard run.
That's right.
And so they gave up 13, 15, 17. And what you saw was, you saw why they struggled to stop the run. It's not because of the safety filling. They don't get off blocks on the front 7. Well, it is sort of the safety filling, but the point is that they kept those safeties back and they prevented the big run. And in preventing the big run, then they forced USC to score in the red zone, and USC didn't do that until they got a pass interference call. And so it's a really clever game plan. It actually worked better than people appreciate. And it's not that those 200 yards aren't real, but about 130 of those yards were empty.
Mm-hmm.
They were all on USC's side of the field. So Nebraska figured it out. USC hit 2 passes. They hit that little 3rd down throw over Marshall, and then the flea flicker was a hell of a call. And I know that the guy was covered, but Maeva was unsettled all game. His footwork was off. That play gave him the chance to set his feet, and when he can do that, you saw the throw. The throw was amazing.
It's a dime.
And it was an incredible throw. It was one of the best throws that anybody's made all season long, and it was perfect. That's what makes him good. And what Nebraska was able to do with its pass rushes, they really unsettled him. And they got his feet off, and he was throwing bad passes. So that flea flicker helped him to set his feet and make a great throw. And that was the ball game. It's such a game of inches. And that game against USC will be a game that I think they go back and watch in the offseason and go, here's what we did really well. Here's where we still need to get better. And here are the players that we need to get in order to get there. That's the key. They've got to get slightly better in a couple of different positions, including on the offensive and defensive line. And they have to decide whether they have the players in the program to do it or they've got the transfer portal ready to roll to supply it.
Yeah, they got to get in the portal, those spots, in my opinion.
I think so too.
They got to get in the portal.
But they may disagree. They may say, you know what, Keona Davis next year, you watch. He's going to be 295 and he'll kick everybody's butt. You just never know. Their mindset may be that they're closer on defense than we think they are. I think they need to go get a couple of 325 pounders. That's my opinion, but we'll see what they do.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the changes in USC's run game was you saw the first two drives. That was the starting defensive line. The backup defensive line came in the third drive, and it was a different look. I know that USC probably made some counters, but it was just different personnel, and it didn't work out as well.
You're absolutely right, and they've got to get deeper on the defensive line. All these things are true, Michael, and they're all going to be off-season discussions because I've always said, well, year 3, 8-4 would be good. And they can get 8-4. They can.
Yeah.
Next year, they need to be really, really good because they're old and they have players and they need to be great. And I think everybody kind of knows that. Next year is the year that they've got to bring all of the juice to the table, and their schedule is much harder next year. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Well, their conference schedule's harder. Their non-conferences are not.
Exactly. Tom Chattel said to me before the game, he's like, even next year, we don't, this offensive line's not going to be good enough. And I go, Tom, you have no idea who's going to be on the offensive line next year. The way the portal works, it could be one guy back and 4 new starters. You see it all the time on college football. Even the best teams, Alabama goes in the portal and grabs a guy. Texas does it with 2 guys. You just don't know who's going to even be on that offensive line next year.
Yeah, and again, when I'm looking at this schedule, I see Indiana, Ohio State,
ranked.
Let's see here, Washington.
There's 5 possible ranked teams I saw.
At Oregon, at Iowa, at Illinois. That's the schedule.
Yeah,
that's the schedule. Nebraska's going to have to pack a lunch to win to go shoot 6-3 in that Big Ten, but they can do it. They've got to do it because everybody kind of knows that next year is the year. But maybe they finish this season out, Michael. If they go 9-3, their portal profile is going to look pretty sweet. People are going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to join a 9-3 team. I'll go there." But that's why these games are really important. Like if they go 9-3, they're going to have a much better pitch to portal prospects. No question.
I want to start off by apologizing for this question because it's one of those hot topic things that I'm not really a part of a lot of times. But so say Lateef does play really well these last 3 games and the bowl game. Is it an open competition in the spring?
I don't think so. I think Dylan is the starting quarterback at Nebraska.
Okay.
I do. Lateef would have to play unbelievably well.
Yeah.
Because the way you've oriented the roster, you've oriented it toward being an NFL style system. And so TJ would have to fit into that vision. He could, there's a chance that he could play that well. But like, for example, Jeff Sims had the game of his life at Iowa State.
Yeah.
And nobody would hesitate for a second if Jeff Sims was coming back, which he isn't, that Sam Levitt's the starter. I don't think it's any different with Dylan.
Yeah.
I do think that what Dylan can do over the last month is learn. And then he can continue to grow in certain aspects of his game. And then he's got to take okay, so next year you're a junior and yes, you want to lead your team to a title, but Dylan doesn't plan on his career ending at Nebraska. And he needs to take a really hard look at what it's going to take to be a great NFL quarterback and then do all those things. And you have to ask more people than just Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes is a unicorn.
Yes.
And Rhule is not. and Rhule is very good, but he's not quite Mahomes. So you better start looking at Sam Darnold and the way he plays, or you better start watching Brock Purdy or watching a more stationary quarterback than that doesn't have an 87-yard arm like Patrick Mahomes does. Those are all things that you have to start to do. And I think if he watches film in the off season, he really watches himself, I think he'll understand there's things that he can get better at. And I think he would be the starter at Nebraska until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say is if Lateef plays really, really well, Nebraska's going to have to pay to keep him.
Sure. Right.
Like, it's not going to be free.
Right.
So, and I think he's worth keeping in the fold. I mean, and he's got a 2-year head start on this 5-star kid that's coming here who's really good. Trey Taylor's really good, but he's not here for 2 years.
Right.
And so TJ Lateef got his audition right now.
Yeah.
And it's, if he wants to be the quarterback here in 2027, or if he wants to be the starting quarterback somewhere, these next 4 games are a huge resume. I mean, this is his audition tape, and we'll see how he does.
Last thing, Sam, biggest concern with UCLA is Nico running an overall run game. They have 16 runs of 20 or more. Now, that's more than what USC had coming in. That's twice as many as what Nebraska has. Is that the biggest concern?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think UCLA is going to try to get an early lead. If UCLA gets up 14-0, look out. I think Nebraska needs good things to happen early. They need to believe that all this is going to be good. They need some good things to happen early in that game.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA can control the football. They have a nice scheme. They have a quarterback who can run. As I've said before, can he throw an interception? He can throw 3.
Sure.
Nebraska's got to get him to make mistakes. They've got to hit some run blitzes, get them behind the sticks, and then they need to pick that guy off because he's a talented player. I like him. I think he's pretty good, but he'll throw an interception, and you've got to get him to throw at least 2. I said they needed 2 takeaways against USC. They got 1.
Yep.
They need 2 against UCLA also. I think this is a very similar game. I think UCLA and Nebraska is a toss-up. Takeaways will be the difference. And I think if Nebraska can take 2 from him, they'll win.
He's got 7 INTs on the season, and his footwork is atrocious. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does do that. Sam, we appreciate it, man. I will see you down the road.
Take care.
All right, Sam McKewon, the Omaha World Herald, of course, the sports editor for them, and find reporter, columnist, everything they need to do for them. I mentioned Nico, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 6.3 yards an attempt, which is fairly low in terms of the top of the Big Ten. Completion rate is right at about 63.2% for Nico, who has certainly played better. But you watch him against Indiana, which is a hard team for anybody to play. Man, Indiana got on him early and quickly, and man, it got really, really, really messy watching that game with Nico going against that defense. But that's what happens sometimes. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We are going to chat a little bit more about some of the stuff that happened in the NFL and take your phone calls at 402-951-1620. That is a tough schedule, man, next year. That could be 6 ranked teams you're playing in the Big Ten next year.
You're for certain getting all 3 Big Ten playoff teams.
Yep. This Josh says they won't get 2 against UCLA and they'll lose by 6+. No. It's a 3-point game. More on that when we come back here on the Connor Happer Show.
Gary and Matt.
I've come around on the Killigan song.
Whoa,
I don't know who you are anymore.
That's a big development.
I think I'm good on the Killigan song. I kind of like it. Got a little beat to it.
Full time out here. We can't just skate over that you've come around on the Killigan song.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I actually listened to it a couple times in the off season on YouTube.
Well, it didn't change, Gary.
No, but you know what?
Like the lyrics, did they re-record it?
No, I think because I've always attached it with that thing coming out and shooting T-shirts into the crowd.
That thing.
Gary and Matt, weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and Zone TV. Your Omaha area forecast from the Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7.
Mostly sunny and comfortable for your Monday afternoon with the high today into the low to mid 60s and the light winds shifting out of the south. For tonight, skies becoming mostly cloudy but remaining dry. Temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. More sunshine and breezy at times Tuesday, high near 70. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Fall's here, and just like your favorite football team, your home needs a strong defense. Don't let a broken furnace cost you more than a free agent signing. Skransky Heating and Cooling has kept Omaha homes like yours comfortable. Their playbook? A fast, reliable furnace system check that keeps your home warm, safe, and game day ready. Call Skransky Heating and Cooling today and schedule your furnace check before the cold takes the field. Get details at heatomaha.com. Skransky, your home comfort MVP.
Save big on homegrown plants and trees at Lanoha. For a limited time, all B&B trees are 25% off. It includes planting and a 2-year warranty. Buy today and we'll plant it right away. Lanoha's Garden Center, 192nd and West Center Road.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. You read the news and you hear so many things about tariffs, trade deals, stock markets coming down, and then going right back up. How do you make a decision to buy a home with all that uncertainty? I'm Brent Rasmussen, a mortgage specialist, and if there's one thing I know, nothing is certain except uncertainty. Even though the housing market nationwide might have cooled, Omaha is still a great place to buy a home. But it helps to have a good guide like Mortgage Specialists. We can help you make a plan that works for you, your family, and your future. Because nothing's more reassuring than when plan A may not be right for you, there's a solid plan B right there, ready to go. How's that for a little certainty in an uncertain world? Give us a call at Mortgage Specialists. Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Husker Review Monday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show. 402-951-1620 is the phone number. The Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline number.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. It's so sad. The little things in life, Josh. It's the little things in life.
It really is. The little things make up the big things.
Little things make the big things, and the big things make wins and bowl games and all the things that make life great. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I can't tell you how awesome it was to be at that game on Saturday.
Looked like a great atmosphere.
Yeah. I thought so. One of my cousins turned 50 out in California. And so we did kind of like a mini fan reunion out there. Everybody went out. There was a big surprise for him. He lives right next to where UCLA plays too. Anyway, everybody went. I thought about going. And I thought to myself, do I really want to miss USC coming into Nebraska, a blackout? I've got to be there for the history of that moment, right? I mean, I've been covering this team full-time, kind of, since 2004. I had to be there for that. And so that's why I didn't go out to LA. But man, I tell you, it was incredible. The emotion, the look, the flags black, the paint black, all the people dressed in black, the energy in there. I know they didn't get the win, and I know that Dylan Raiola got hurt, but take all that out of it, man. It was just an incredible atmosphere. And I hope they do it again. I hope it's something they do again, because I know black's not one of their colors, and I know John calls it a gimmick, but it's fun, man. And that's what football sometimes is about, just fun.
Not yearly, but when the time is right.
So you don't like the idea of doing it every year?
No, because then you're kind of forcing it. You're kind of like, okay, what's the blackout game this year? When the situation, and it ahead of time when the situation calls for it.
Right. So you have, obviously Penn State does the whiteout every year, sometimes twice. It's only one official whiteout though. Iowa does that stripe thing every year. And there's other teams that do certain things, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's up to them. Do it how you want. I just really had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did it. Let's go back to the phones. Nick in St. Louis, the worst food city in America. What's up, Nick?
Hey, what's up? I know I am so sick of hearing you say St. Louis is the worst city. I've been listening to you since like EBL days, and man, you've been saying that forever.
Sorry. What's up, man?
All good. I don't really have nothing great to add to the conversation, but I will say, yes, that blackout environment, it was incredible. Like, even I'm from, like, right now I live just south of St. Louis. All of my St. Louis friends, like, I was showing them the pictures and stuff. They were amazed with it. So super cool. And I don't really know how to feel about Nebraska right now. It's like I'm dipping my toe back into the water.
What do you mean?
Like, well, as far as, like, you know, we've been just so down for so long, and, like, now that there's, like, just a little bit of hope, little momentum, it's like, you know, you feel like a little bit of success, and then you get it pulled back from you when you see games like Minnesota, and then, but I won't say like USC. I don't think it was this. You know, Minnesota was just a complete nobody showed up. USC, I feel like everybody played their ass off, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I just don't, it's just hard to really, like, dive back in completely, just because you don't want to, basically like it's a relationship, like you don't want to get hurt again.
No, I listen, man, the ROI that you fans have been getting back from what you give has been horrible. I understand. But all I can tell you is, what else you got to do on Saturday, man? What else you got? Why not? Just stick it out.
What I do.
Just stick it out, right? There's nothing else to do. Just stick it out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for taking my call.
All right, no problem, man.
To chime in and say hi.
All right, great. Take it easy, Nick. Nick in St. Louis. And let's go to Brad. Hey, Brad, what's happening?
Hey, I've got a question about the depth at the jack linebacker position.
Yes, sir.
It appeared that McCullough was out for a while, and McGahee, I guess, is being redshirted. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And I also wanted to comment about getting the backup quarterback ready to play. A true freshman at Mizzou is thrown in the game against Vanderbilt on the road when the two guys ahead of him had both been injured, and he just about led them to a comeback victory. So it can be done.
Sure.
And our coaching staff had to know that there was a strong likelihood that Dylan was going to miss some time. So I'm disappointed that TJ wasn't better prepared for that situation.
Brad, I appreciate your call. I want to disagree just a little bit because I can't tell you he wasn't prepared. I know why you're saying it. You're looking at the numbers, right? You're looking at the amount of completions he had. You're looking at the yards he had. You're looking at the fumble on the snap, and you're saying, well, that means he wasn't prepared. I can't tell you he wasn't prepared. We heard today in the press conference where Rhule remarked him changing the play at the line of scrimmage, doing just like Dylan does, right? So we know that he can do that. I thought he had opportunities to make big plays, and he didn't. I don't think that's necessarily because he wasn't prepared. Reps lead to, in my opinion, like relaxation. You get a bunch of reps, you relax doing it. When I roll in to do a radio show now, I don't have the nerves I had because I have all the reps. These were his first true reps against a Big Ten team in a time where the game mattered. And I think part of it was he wasn't necessarily as relaxed as he's going to be. That's what happened with the drop of the snap. I think that happened maybe a little bit on the way he threw that back shoulder throw. I think that the way he threw the screen pass to Emmett on 3rd and 2, I think he rushed that a little bit instead of just putting it on him. That's all comes with being a little more relaxed. Doesn't mean you're not prepared, right? I could be prepared all I want to do this radio show. I'm not relaxed. It's not going to come across very well. I think he was more not as relaxed as he needed to be because of a lack of reps. And it's understandable. That's what happens with backup quarterbacks. More than he wasn't prepared. I think they prepared him. They had him ready to go. He says he was ready to go. But in that situation, it's hard, man. It's hard. It just is. And remember this. USC knows he's a running quarterback. They know. They probably recruited him. They know. They're going to watch out for those certain things. When he ran that quarterback draw, they knew that was coming. They made a great play to stop it because they knew. You're not tricking anybody anymore. Everybody knows. They watched him play against Houston Christian. They watched him play against Akron. They probably watched him in high school when they were recruiting him. Everybody knows everybody. Not saying he wasn't prepared at all. And again, I wasn't in the room when he was preparing. I don't think that's it. I just think it was more about nerves, and he didn't have the reps it took to look relaxed. One more call before we take a break. We go to Craig. What's happening, Craig? How you doing?
I love you, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, I agree with you. I think the kid was prepared. I think USC had a lot to do with how he played. I mean, it wasn't like he was going up against, it wasn't, they're a Power 5 team. I mean, a good one at that. They're ranked for a reason. I just think, that defense, 21 points, that's amazing.
Yep.
But we could have won. And I think if the play calling would have been called better, I just don't think they called to his strength. I mean, it could have had him do some option runs where he could have kept that ball and went a long ways. And I think maybe it was nervous. He's not used to it and thought, hey, the safer thing to make me look good is to give it off and let him not get anywhere instead of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll just hang up and let you talk.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Craig. Right. Part of it, we just don't know. We just don't know. I will tell you about the way he looked. He didn't look to me like he was overwhelmed. He didn't look to me the first time he took off running that he was unsure of himself. He didn't look to me when he threw the ball down the field in Isaiah Hunter that it was too much for him. He didn't look like it. That's all I can base it off of. That's me watching it from upstairs in the press box, and then I've watched the game twice since then. And it didn't come across to me that he looked like he was overwhelmed or underprepared or any of that stuff. He looked nervous in some of the plays, I thought. I think he was a little unsure, maybe. But that all comes with getting reps and getting in there. He's going to be a much better quarterback on Saturday because he got first-team reps. He's a much better quarterback because they designed the game plan for him. He's going to be a much better quarterback because he's going to be a little bit more sure. He's going to be 10 miles from his house. He'll be a better quarterback then. And by the way, I saw somebody on Twitter. I put my recruiting breakdown of him on Twitter, and I only have a limited amount of characters, so I didn't put everything. I just put like some of the basics, and he wrote 0 weaknesses. I didn't say the kid had 0 weaknesses. Everybody's got weaknesses. You just can't fit it in. What is it? How many characters is it now? 288 or
280?
280, something like that. Doesn't have enough. Anyway, we're back with more here on the Connor Happer Show.
The Connor Happer Show.
Who's pitching tonight?
You Darvish, having a great year.
The Connor Happer Show.
I know about that guy.
On 1620, The Zone.
What a mess.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Kids don't like to miss out, and neither do you. When sore throats, ear infections, or sinus trouble put you on the sideline, trust the experts at Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat. With specialized care for the whole family and quick and friendly scheduling, you won't miss a thing. Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat can get you back to life. Visit boystownhospital.org.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Jannard, TV host and restaurateur. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on Sundays. When our resources changed, food assistance programs sustained us. They gave me fuel to start my first culinary business at 16 years old, and inspiration to donate the extra food in my community. Through my life, I've developed an appetite to work with others to ensure everyone has access to the nutritious food we need to thrive. Together, we can help end hunger. Come on, join the movement with Feeding America by volunteering, donating, and advocating. Learn more at feedingamerica.org/act now.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620, The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show. Michael Severe filling in for Connor last segment. Going to find out what you thought about the poll questions and, of course, what to watch tonight. I want to say that Nebraska's net field position, something I've watched all year long because Nebraska needed to get better at this, obviously. They were +1 against USC. For the season, they're +46 total. That is +5.11 net field position per game. 5 yards, obviously, half a first down. But it still puts them ranked in the top. I think they'll be around top 10, somewhere in there, maybe a little higher. But they're getting it done. It was the second worst finishing drive rate for Nebraska. They had 5 successful drives out of the 10, only 17 points. 3.4, which is the amount of points you score per successful drives. Like I said, second worst of the season. Per drive, 1.7 points per drive. That's a full half a point less than they are averaging for the season, so it wasn't good. USC's finishing drive rate was 5.25. Well, they only had 4 successful drives, 21 points, so a little bit better for them. And then Havoc, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show when we were doing the crossover. Nebraska 16, USC 11 in Havoc Plus, which is a +5 for Nebraska for the season. They are -5 in Havoc Plus. Josh Otson.
Michael Severe, you ready for those poll questions?
Heck yeah, bro.
Okay, all of them came during the crossover.
Nice.
Do you have 6 friends? Your options were more, less, or push.
Ooh, I'm curious about this.
41.4% of the audience said more and less. So it's a tie.
Oh, wow.
17.2% of the audience said push. How do you like your Yorkshire pudding? 50-50, sweet versus
really
savory. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm okay.
Still plenty of time to vote, everybody.
You have 6 friends, more or less, push. Okay.
Jason Bateman, overrated, underrated, or properly rated. 61.4% of the audience agreed with you, Michael.
Yes.
Properly rated.
Definitely. He's a hell of an actor. I don't think anybody ever goes, man, underrated actor, Jason Bateman. I don't think. Maybe not.
Have you ever walked into Brothers Bar and thought you were going to fall into love? 76% of the audience said no, of course not. Why would I do such a thing?
Put no, just because I've never been in Brothers Bar and Grill, so can't say yes on that one.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next. I already have the love thing. I'm already married.
That's good.
I'm married.
Married. Let's see. Matt McMaster would not get that reference.
No, he would not. Good call.
Yeah. What to watch tonight? NFL, Monday Night Football. Arizona Cardinals, Dallas Cowboys, 7 o'clock on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2. If you don't have any of those channels right now, you can listen to 1620 The Zone. Or
antenna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I antenna on my TVs because I had DirecTV for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have antennas.
Manning cast guests include Charles Barkley and Baker Mayfield.
No, I will not be able to watch that with my antenna.
Okay. NBA basketball, Wolves, Nets, 6 o'clock.
Hold on a second.
Peacock.
When does season start?
Last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Comes out of nowhere.
These are exactly. Wait till we get to the college basketball. Lakers, Blazers, 9 o'clock tonight out west on NBA TV. Tonight is opening day for college basketball. It's going on right now. There's 1 million games today. None of them are any good.
Today is the day it got started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Omaha playing Murray State.
The
right
Racers.
now. That's right. 44-35, Racers leading with 16 minutes to go.
There you go, Ryan Miller. There you go.
One.
So that's where Gary is.
That is where Gary is.
Understood.
Yes, he's
Understood.
at the Pentagon. That's where that game's being played.
He's in the Pentagon?
That's right.
Does he realize that the reporters can't cover games there?
Sorry, I don't know. West Georgia takes on Nebraska tonight at PBA, 7 o'clock on BTN Plus. The 2 best games of the day take place in Las Vegas. Number 3, Florida versus number 13 Arizona at 6 o'clock on TNT, followed by Villanova against number 8 BYU. Did you know BYU was ranked 8th in the country?
I did, because they played a local team in a game they call an exhibition.
Okay, that's right. Sure.
Yes, right.
And then finally, Penguins Maple Leafs, 6:30 on NHL Network.
Hockey's going on too?
Hockey, yeah.
You know what killed me the other day? I was watching Game Day, and they were talking to these two guys, and they were like, they play for the Utah Mammoths. And I was like, what the hell are they talking? Who are these guys? I was thinking that maybe it was like a minor league football team, or I didn't know what it was. And then I figured out, oh, it's NHL. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Sure. Did you know that the combination of Josh Otson and Michael Severe's favorite NFL teams has only, I believe, 2 wins? Is that correct?
Titans have each has 1 win.
Yes. Between the two of us, we have the lowest win rate of any of the combinations you could have in the zone world for our favorite teams.
Right.
That's sad.
By a lot, probably.
This is the first year that the Saints have had a record as bad as 1-6 since they started 0-14 in 1980. And a young Michael Severe was selling Swegman's grocery bags with the holes cut out outside of the Louisiana Superdome.
I haven't seen a lot of that this year.
Haven't had a lot of Aints. The Aints are back, though. The Aints will be back pretty soon, being that they're 1-8, and they're probably going to go 1-16. But anyway, yes, the Aints, 1980, 0-14, went to New York, played the Jets. It started snowing. And they won their first and only game of that season in the
Saints
snow.
Host the Jets on December 21st.
I know. Isn't that kind of funny? That could maybe be the second win.
That's right. Oh, they do play the Dolphins later this month.
They do. Saints are just bad, though.
What are you going to? No options at quarterback.
Yeah. I feel bad for you because you're bad and you already got a first-round pick at quarterback.
Everyone tells me I have a quarterback, but I don't know.
Cam Ward has moments. He has moments where I go, he's still very young.
Yeah.
The offensive line's not great. Who's his playmakers?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, but yeah, I get it. I feel bad though for you. You gonna take another quarterback?
No.
I would hope not. Take the best pass rusher available, because pass rushers are invaluable.
Okay.
Or
this makes sense.
Best left tackle you can find.
Yeah.
Those 2 spots. After that, shut down corner and running wide receiver. Those are your orders. Get those. You'll be 2nd overall pick, maybe 3rd overall pick in each of the rounds. You have all your picks?
I believe so.
Okay. So if you have all your picks, 2nd overall pick behind the Saints, in all of those rounds, get yourself a pass rusher, a left tackle, shutdown corner, which you're not going to be able to get in the 3rd round, but still a shutdown corner. And then get you some more wide receiver help. And you never know what happens.
And a head coach.
Oh, yes, of course. You need a head coach because you guys were the first to fire, weren't you?
That's right.
Yeah. Is Bill Callahan still the offensive line coach?
I can't find, every time I look for an answer, I can't find one. You would leave, right?
I would think if my son was fired, I probably would leave.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a job. Do you leave the job?
Titans part ways with veteran offensive line coach Bill Callahan 1 day after firing son Brian Callahan.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. So poor Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
So he stayed for a day. He came back to work the next day, and
he just didn't know.
What are you doing?
They
can go too.
Yeah, they probably thought, he understands, he knows.
Yeah.
And then he showed up and like, wait a minute, what are you doing here, Bill? And he's like, I thought I had to come to work. I don't know what's happening.
If you fire me, I get all the money.
I do get all the money, no doubt about that.
He Costanza it.
Just keep showing up, dude. Just keep showing up. That's awesome. Hey, thanks to everybody who called in to the show today. And listened on Friday as well. Thank you very much. Connor's back tomorrow. Coming up, the crossover, which is going to probably be awesome, I think.
You're going to get a Happy New Year.
I'm going to get a Happy New Year?
I can feel it.
I'm going to get a Happy New Year. We'll be back with that right here on the Connor Happer Show.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and